Antiderivative Jill.
Hello, I am Antiderivative Jill, and this is Indefinite Lunch in Infinite Combinations, number 72. Today we're reviewing the next original series episode in production order, and it's the Immunity Syndrome. And I'd like to welcome our panelists today. We have Pop Culture Curator. I'm so happy he could make it today. Hello.
So am I. Hello, and good to see everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. Will you be streaming tonight?
Yes, I didn't get a chance to post which movie, so I'm going to do a Rumblings from the Lab. It'll be open topic, open mic.
Awesome. That should be fun.
Yeah.
And also today we have Scotty R37. Make sure to follow him on Twitter or X or whatever.
Ahoy.
Yeah. And also thanks to everybody hanging out in the chat.
Don't forget to vote in the poll.
Right. There's a poll. If you'd like to throw a grade for the episode in there. And hello to Mega Cropper, Captain Infinity, Franco Walker, Mark Harkness. Yeah, and Mark Harkness says, by the 25th century, antimatter-resistant space viruses appeared due to Federation bureaucrats deciding that full courses of antimatter were unnecessary and too expensive, and authorizing half doses. Yeah, that's part of the fun of this episode, is thinking of the entire universe as its own body. And also, Lemon Pie. Lemon Pie's also here. Hello, Lemon Pie.
Lemon.
And Kapla to BirdoPrey5.
Hello, Lemon Pie. Kapla, BirdoPrey.
Kapla.
Gorilla's random thought says, Kapla, automatic F. I'll think of a reason later.
Good to see you, Gorilla. I hope you're feeling well.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, Gorilla.
I was worried for a second there. For reference to the production of these episodes, some facts I share come from Star Trek 365 by Paula Black and Tara J. Erdman, as seen on the original series reviews on the Clobbering Times channel on Saturday Night Star Trek. By now, however, they're reviewing Voyager, and it's a ton of fun. So with that, let's check out the Immunity Syndrome. Also, BirdoPrey5 says, I'm tired. I can't wait to lay on a warm, well-endowed planet.
Delightful.
James Caserta says, hello, guys. Oh, great and mighty Jill. Hello, James.
Hello there.
Hey, Jim.
And also hello to Euler Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, hello, Greg. Good to see you there. Hope you're doing well.
So before I start with the slides, I'll give away the basic summary so no one has to worry about spoilers and things, even though I do go scene by scene. So here's the Immunity Syndrome. After losing contact with Solar System Gamma 7A and Starship Intrepid, Starfleet dispatches the Enterprise to the region. At the same time, Spock is blindsided by a psychic bolt from light years away. The Intrepid, a ship manned entirely by Vulcans, has just been destroyed, and all 400 members of its crew along with it. When the Enterprise reaches Gamma 7A, sensors reveal that every one of the system's billions of inhabitants is also dead. destroyed by what appears to be a gigantic single-celled organism that most resembles an impossibly oversized amoeba. The amoeba-like entity feeds on the energy of living beings, and it's gathered enough to reproduce. It's up to Kirk to destroy it before that can happen. But how? Spock and McCoy each volunteered to take the shuttlecraft into the heart of the life form to determine and convey the information Kirk will need. But that solution leaves Kirk with an extremely unpleasant decision to make. And then let's look at the actual slides. And so that's our story for today. And more people are saying hello in the chat. So the immunity system, the immunity syndrome, first aired on January 19th, 1968. It was written by Robert Saberoff, but there was also a final draft by John Meredith Lucas. Robert would go on to write two of the better Star Trek Next Generation Season 1 episodes, Conspiracy, which later leads to the Borg, and Home Soil, which is a lesser but still pretty good variation on The Devil in the Dark. My favorite Star Trek.
Is that your opinion, or are you reading from the book?
Oh, that's my opinion.
Okay.
You don't have to agree with it. Wait a
No,
minute.
no, that's okay. I was just curious.
Oh my goodness. Mark says your transmission seems to have some interference from the creature's inner membrane. Is there a problem with my mic?
It was breaking up for a few seconds, but it's fine now.
Oh no. At what point did it start breaking up?
It was garbled, but we got the information. I was
Garbled?
worried it was me.
Is it still garbled?
No, you sound 5 by 5.
Oh shoot. Man.
No, 5 by 5 is
That's
good.
No, I know it's good now, but it was not good.
It was
For
very
how-
noticeable. It was very noticeable, Jill. It only lasted a couple seconds.
Oh really?
I wouldn't
Okay.
worry.
Yeah, right. And we were able to make out what you were saying.
Why don't
Okay.
we try forward thrust?
Yeah, that should reverse us. Euler Greg says the eddies and currents could cause the probe to drift for thousands of kilometers. And hello. Hey, Matt G.
Hey, Matt G.
And Yamas Queen Jess says, you should have wished me luck.
Good to see you, Maggie.
Fuck.
Yeah, Miss
Yeah.
Queen Jess. Good to see you all.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a really good quote.
Delightful episode. After watching this, I really think that this is top 10, if not top 5.
Yeah, this
I don't even know. We'd have to go through the rest of the episode reviews to find out how many episodes are in my top 5. Could be 7.
Well, you're going to need to come up with the top 10. When we're finished with all the episodes, we're going to have a top 10 episode. So
I got plenty of time.
We'll each give us our own top 10. Yes. Yeah, tons of time.
Great.
And also it was directed by Joseph Pevney. And this is apparently the last episode directed by him. Who, along with Mark Daniels, have the most number of episodes that they directed.
I think it's tight. It's good. Hey, Raymond.
Yeah, hello, Raymond. He's lurking today. Okay. Glad you clarified that.
But I enjoy this for the science, for the professionalism, for the realities, sort of the weight of star travel. Like, everyone's tired. Last week, they had to deal with like a gaseous cloud that could take all your red corpuscles. And it's like, we need some shore leave. And it's like, nope, you got to do this one thing. It's weird how everybody's being pumped full of uppers. But, I guess maybe
it's medicinal.
Yeah, well, that's sure. That's how it starts, Jill.
Pop Culture Curator, could you read our first captain's log for today?
Absolutely. Captain's log, stardate 4307.1. Approaching Starbase 6 for a much-needed period of rest and recreation. The crew has performed excellently, but is exhausted, and I, too, am looking forward to a nice period of rest on some lovely planet.
Well endowed.
Well endowed as
BirdoPrey5
BirdoPrey5
said, yes.
points out. This episode was the last time that we get to see Kirk in his green tunic.
Oh, and I still want this for Christmas. So anybody in the chat, figure out how to get me presents.
Send presents to Scotty R37.
No,
in
not
Canada.
all the presents, just this shirt. That's all.
Just this one. Okay.
Yeah.
And
You wrap
hello
it a
to
little
the
tighter. It works as a belt. You wear it a little looser. You look more like Shatner, but still, come on. Beefy man, that Bill.
And I want to say hello to the AI show. Nice screenshot of the Enterprise here. Yeah, it was.
Did you guys watch it on the enhanced special effects?
I did.
Same here.
I watched both. And
Wow.
it's a balance. It's such a balance, but we'll get there when we get there.
Oh, yeah, you're right. At the end I'll do a comparison. I know I always say that. Sometimes I forget, so I'm bringing it up now.
But there's some really good stuff in the original, and when you compare it with the remastered special effects, they do it such justice. They just make it look better without changing what it is. And then, but when you watch the original, it's like, I can't believe they did this in 1968, 7, 8. When did this air again? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
1968.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
like this is, for television special effects, this is such a good episode.
yeah, it looked really well, I think.
Yeah, I'm just bringing this. I'm just putting it to the side for later.
Understood.
Oh, where is it? It keeps bringing up the Paradise Syndrome instead of the Immunity Syndrome. I don't understand what's happening.
I am Kirok.
I'll look for it later.
All right. Maybe I can look for it.
Yeah. So, but she loses connection. But then Spock gets he's stricken. He suddenly feels some pain.
Right.
And
This
he's
is like directly ripped off for Star Wars, the first movie, with Obi-Wan Kenobi, with Alderaan being destroyed.
Mhm.
Well, in Star Wars, according to Obi-Wan Kenobi, it was like thousands of boys suddenly cried out and were silenced.
And yeah,
Right
and here Spock says, the Intrepid, it just died. The 400 Vulcans aboard, all dead. And although the name was cut from the final script, the captain of the USS Intrepid was named Satak. And Spock leaves for sick bay. He's sent to sick bay. And so they can't go to shore leave, of course, because it's a Star Trek episode, so we gotta have an adventure. And the pain didn't last long. And this is a pretty good scene. It begins the theme of Spock and McCoy that permeates throughout the whole episode. And Spock says, even as a Vulcan, I could hear the death scream of 400 Vulcan minds crying out over the distance between us. Oh, that's the line there that you say that Star Wars rips.
I wouldn't say rips off.
Okay. Inspired by them.
Sure. I think that there is sort of a universal constant of, if you have someone who is in touch with the fabric of the universe, whether it be through mysticism, midichlorians, or telekinetic powers, It's like when a lot of people die. And also, let's not forget, a solar system died with billions of people. It's only referenced once, but there are billions who are dead at the same time. Maybe that also informed what Spock referred to, but it was something that he wouldn't admit to. Spock, I mean, Vulcan vanity. He felt that ship, and I buy it. I get it, because he's Vulcan, they're Vulcan. There is a certain level of, I don't know, is there an aura between all Vulcans? I've never noticed that before. It's never been referenced before or since.
Right. I don't know how such a thing travels through space, but it somehow works out for Spock. I don't know.
Ley lines.
I don't know how much I buy it, but
String theory.
But I love Spock, so I'll let him have it.
So do I. But it's something that's unique as an alien. Like we are in touch with each other on some level. Can we explain it? No, but we have powers to be able to transfer thought. If such a concentration of thought is winked out of the galaxy, then maybe it would. Maybe there are distress signals coming from Vulcan at this point. We don't know. It's not our quadrant.
That's possible. Spock says, I've noticed that your people, Doctor, you find it easier to understand the death of one than the death of a million. You speak about the objective hardness of the Vulcan heart, yet how little room there seems to be in yours.
Well, and Yamas points something out that would be 400 Katra that couldn't be transferred.
Oh, yeah, that is unfortunate. 400 souls lost, of course. That's an interesting addition.
And at this point,
I hadn't gone to the chat yet.
And just before you go to the chat, I just want to give big ups to not only our boy Eddie Paskey, Mr. Leslie, manning the engineering console, and we got Chekhov immediately jumping to science whenever Spock is not available. We also
get Kyle in this episode.
Oh, but I disagree, sir. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it is John Winston, but he is consistently referred to
a different
as
name.
Mr. Cowell. Right. And even in the credits, he's not Kyle, he's Cowell. I have a funny feeling, and please endure my speculation. I think that they were anticipating George Takei to be available for this episode, because there is even a Sulu lookalike at the conference room later on in the episode. They wrote lines for Helm anticipating, in my opinion. Speculation and apocrypha, I know, but it looked like they were waiting for Sulu.
Well, notice how there on the left, the helmsman is dark-haired.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we see Cowell or Kyle, he's blonde.
All right. So the book has something about Spock and his telepathy. I'm going to read that. Vulcans are considered touch telepaths, meaning they generally cannot perceive the thoughts of another individual unless they are in physical contact. There are exceptions, however. Spock occasionally has been able to plant suggestions into another's mind through a wall, and even as far as across a room. But in the Immunity Syndrome, he actually experiences the deaths, or as he describes it, the death screams of a ship full of Vulcans from light years away. When Dr. McCoy expresses appropriate skepticism over this newfound ability, Spock attempts to explain it in simple terms. Call it a deep understanding of the way things happen to Vulcans. Later, he clarifies the sensation he experienced, defining it as the touch of death. But the Intrepid's ill-fated Vulcans apparently were even bigger skeptics than McCoy. What they experienced as they died, according to Spock, was sheer astonishment. And so now The Enterprise encounters this zone of darkness, and so it's so black. We can't even see any starlight.
I hate to drop some Next Generation on you, but did this remind you of Nagilum?
No, it reminded me of the crystalline entity.
Oh, interesting. I also want to say hello to Snortopoopas Cuber.
Hello, Snortopoopas. The AI show says there goes R&R, and Franco says trivia. All male Vulcan names had to start with S and end with K.
Bless you, Cybok.
Sorry.
Oh, wait. What about Ston?
Yeah,
Ston starts with an S, but we end with an N.
Yeah, I know. That's why it was funny, because it's a
and
joke.
we got a Tuvok. We got a Tuvok out there in the future, but we don't count that yet.
Yeah. And every lady's name has to start with a T apostrophe.
What is the apostrophe replacing?
I don't know.
All right. Just curious, not angry.
Me neither. It's a good joke. James Caserta says, my newscaster winks at me and laughs at my jokes. So,
I have a Telecaster that gently weeps.
Ariba Bell says, my teaching schedule changed and I teach from 11 to 2, so I'll only be intermittently checking in on Tuesdays.
Very cool.
Oh, okay. Well, enjoy your teaching. That's a good job, though.
Too bad. Well, and Ari, anytime that you can spend some time is great. Humans and other creatures.
Nice. James Caserta says, TOS Bridge looks like a 3rd grade classroom. What? I wish that was my 3rd grade classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Sora Poopus says, Vulcans are clearly a bunch of wackadoodles.
Only on Pon Far. Hey, Herc.
Herc, that's a good answer. Herc 130 says,
Herc.
oh, the usual suspects are in the house. Hello, panel.
And again, I just want to keep saying that it's such a pleasure to go through these episodes in production order and talk about them with you guys. Like, you know your Star Trek, you love your Star Trek. It's so fun to just have fun watching this and enjoying it. It's great. We all have so much knowledge and affection that I really appreciate it. And that goes for the chat as well.
Yeah, and this just looks like an empty void, but it's pulling the Enterprise in. It's got a force that's drawing them in. And then it makes this crazy loud noise that shakes everybody up. That happens pretty soon.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You'll
I was
need to do that a few
penetrating
more
the
times.
membrane. My mistake.
Well, we'll get there.
All right.
But they spend a lot of this episode wondering what this is. They don't know what it is at first.
Well, and also it sort of comes down to the nature of Star Trek in terms of discovery, and not, I mean, just as a descriptor. Like, it is, what is it? We don't know. Well, what do we do? Well, we don't know.
Insufficient
Well,
data.
we have to do something. And Kirk even says so in terms of his address to the crew. Our job is not to retreat or flee. Our job is to investigate. But we're all capable. I know we're tired. We're sick. We're getting sicker. But this is what we do. Do your jobs. Kirk out.
Yes.
We have no guarantees, but we have a good ship. And the best crew in Starfleet. So do your jobs.
Carry on. So assured. Now, Bones, pump this crew full of drugs. Make them do their jobs. Give them the espresso.
Supply it. Insufficient data is not sufficient, Mr. Spock.
You're the science officer.
Do some science.
But yeah, and so he has him think backwards since he can't figure out what it is. He knows it's not a liquid, a gas, or solid, or a nebula. And since the deflectors were activated by it, it has to be some kind of energy. Because if the ship can't detect it, but the deflectors still react to it, I guess that's what tells Spock that it's energy. And Kirk decides it's time to penetrate the zone. And so the Enterprise gets pulled in even more, and the energy drain starts.
Like, I wish I could comment, but
You don't have to.
Well, no, but I'm kind of trying to curb my double entendre ratio.
Oh,
But this is an episode where they use the word penetrate a lot, and I
they
giggle.
do. And there's a specific scene where it's heavy. Like, you can't ignore the
Heavy penetration, totes.
and it's a very particular one when Spock is in the shuttlecraft where that occurs.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So that's where you can have all your innuendos, because you can't get around it.
All right.
And hello to Sean Carter.
Hey, Sean.
Hey,
And Mark
Sean Carter,
Harkness
good
says-
to see you.
Yeah, Mark Harkness says, I resent that. I consider us the unusual suspects.
The unique suspects.
Snortopupus Cuber says, I'm a polar bear, and my thoughts are both subtle and beyond the ability for mere humans to conceive.
Snortopupus cuber exists outside of our understanding of dimension. It's glorious.
Wow.
Have you ever been hugged by a Snortopupus?
No.
Nor have I. I fear it. And
The
yet, curious.
The AI show says, now that sounds, as you call it, wackadoodle. I find it highly illogical to Snortopupus. Oh, no. James Concerta, New Trek ruined that sentence for me. Snortopupus says, you're the science officer. Make something up. Invent some technobabble.
When is it during the episode where Kirk says, are you joking, Spock? And Spock, it wouldn't occur to me, Captain. Are you trying to be funny?
Yeah, it's where he says, what's the difference between the border and it's where we were and where we are.
Are you trying to be funny? It wouldn't even occur.
And so they're going to penetrate. Yep. 1 minute. Red alert.
I have so many questions for later in the episode. They do announce why they can't use phasers. I have theories about why they can't use photon torpedoes.
Well, besides the power output.
Besides the power output.
Right, because the energy, because
it would just absorb it. Isn't that what Spock
right,
said?
because it's eating energy.
But the photon torpedo is a matter-antimatter explosion. And so they do go straight to antimatter as opposed to having that being an explosion. Never mind, you answered it. Thank you. I'll never speak of it again.
Well, we will actually once we get there.
All right.
But it's okay to go out of order, as I said earlier. Sometimes it's more fun to get those things out of the way early because it's burning in your mind and you have to know.
I think it's great because it shows that they have to use their minds and not always just go in with guns blazing, thinking it's going to solve everything.
Well, and Pop, no one breaks down. Like, people are tired and they don't, like, this is a day where everybody on the Enterprise wants to call in sick. They were just about to go on vacation. And this is one where it's like, sorry guys, we got to pull it together. We got like one more thing.
Yeah, and
No complaints.
not only were they exhausted, but now they're dying. They're
Yeah.
getting their energy sapped along with the ship, and so they're having to receive all these stimulants just to keep working. And so the next captain's log is Captain's log stardate 4308.8. It is now 10 minutes since we entered the zone of darkness. We have stopped engines while we seek a defense against energy drain that seems to pervade the zone. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
A boundary layer between what and what? Okay, so that sound was the turbulence caused by the penetration of the boundary layer. A boundary between what? Between where we are, between where we were and where we are. Wherever you go, there you are.
I like the idea of there being a null space sort of membrane. Like there is, like, I know they use membrane a lot in this, but there is like a distance between regular space and it's obviously an energy field that is surrounding this biological entity.
Yeah, it feels to me kind of like the creature is creating its own habitat and it's expanding it.
Yeah.
As it can. And when it reproduced, I imagine, of course, that field will get bigger.
Well, it would. My assumption would be that it's just going to make a whole bunch of different, smaller, similar environments for the offspring to exist within. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Because of like mitosis. So it's going to divide several hundred times. Also, it's interesting that they do sort of say this thing does not move faster than light. It's just going to slowly consume.
And when you have such a zone, it's always fun to say the physics are different now. And so that's what this episode does. Things are somehow reversed, but not everything. Apparently, mostly just the ship. I don't know what exactly is reversed. That's not clear.
I thought it was odd, too, that in this scene, Scotty's pants are dirty like he fell or something.
I thought he was... Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you'll see on his right thigh, it looks like there's a white patch of dirt or something, like maybe a scene that was cut right there.
Yes. I thought that he like brushed up against a freshly painted wall or something.
Yeah, I was wondering that. Something off screen, obviously.
Maybe they filmed this out of order, and when he was flailing around, he bumped up against something.
Yeah. Well, many of the crew fall over lots of times this episode, so it makes sense that he gets dirty. But wow, that is something I would never have noticed, really.
No, it's great. The HD version of this is amazing.
BirdoPrey5 says so many double entendres. The AI show says the Immunity Syndrome, a highly penetrating episode.
True.
And James Caserta says Spock
to
was
boldly
a sex
penetrate idol. What? Moving on.
To boldly penetrate membranes that have not been penetrated before. It's not wrong.
Indeed. No, not wrong.
Herc 130 says maybe they will stick the tip of the Enterprise in.
Come on, can we get to the nucleus when we start making just the tip jokes? Hey, Dalek.
Hello, Dalek. I'm doing wonderful.
Also, Mr. Brown is here.
Oh, hello to Mr. Brown Alliance. And so, since things are working backwards, they're...
and Phantom Boomer.
In order to reverse, they actually have to go forward. So in this case, Captain, I would suggest we apply forward thrust. Because it's doing the opposite of what you suspect. I think, wasn't there an animated series episode that kind of did that too? I don't remember which one that was.
That applied forward thrust? I don't know. I don't go to those parts of the internet.
Oh.
I know I'm being dirty. I'll reel it in.
No, but it was It was vague enough to where it was funny without being crude, so actually it wasn't bad. Sorapoopa
Chill.
says, it's a good thing McCoy is there with this hypo of full magic go-go juice.
I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on the stimulants that they are pumping through the entire crew this entire episode? Like,
It's for medicine purposes, so I'm fine.
I
with it.
understand that. I understand that it's medicinal and it is to ensure performance, but
Mhm.
don't
mean,
you
look
think
at
it's
this crew.
weird?
Notice
Yeah.
how
Don't
they
you think it's
don't.
weird that they can just inject their crew to work harder if they're tired?
Notice how they don't try coffee.
Oh, there's no coffee in this episode too, and yeah, Star Trek does enjoy coffee.
That is a good point, Pop Culture Curator. That is
Like,
I wonder why they
Well,
don't
it's
do
just
that.
I noticed because I don't drink coffee, but I know there's so many people who do, who claim that they can't get throughout their day without the coffee. So you think that'd be one of the first things they would think of? I don't know.
You're absolutely right. I'd go for coffee first before the stimulants.
Well, but it's also the crew reacting all at the same time from the same stimulus. Like,
Phantom Boomer says, Scotty, your toes are what?
I said totes, not toes.
Oh, totes. Oh, okay. I was confused by this comment. Franco Walker says that note about Vulcan names was stated in a Star Trek book about the creation of TOS and making the writer's handbook for TOS. Oh, wow. Okay, great. Thank you, Franco.
Yeah, but it's wrong because of Ston.
Yeah. Right. It is wrong, but it's cool. It's a neat idea.
It is. There are naming conventions, so that's nice.
Mm-hmm. Snorpoopa says, I remember that book. It had an interesting list of possible Vulcan names. It also had a list of names for Enterprise's sister ships.
The Yorktown, the Defiant, the
And
Constellation, Constitution? No, Constitution, not the Constellation.
Harkness has that book, and I would have loved to see a Vulcan named Splooge, says Snortopoopus.
That doesn't go with the naming convention, though.
No, it doesn't. That sounds more like a name for...
Poopy? I think that was offside. Poopus. Let's be formal.
A Packlid might be named Splooge.
Or in Delton.
Big Daddy MRI says, I'm working and listening. Love this stream. Thank you, Big Daddy MRI. Phantom Boomer says, I think Spam would be a good Vulcan name.
Triplets.
If the Immuninty syndrome were made in 2023, Spock would say, Captain, it is apparently insane in the membrane.
Insane in the brain!
Oh, Mark Harkness. The counterclock incident, I believe, is the animated series episode in question, showing us Robert April and his wife. Thank you so much. Yes, they went into the reverse universe, and so all the stars are black and the universe was white. It's
Yes,
fun.
that makes sense.
And then that lady's father was a toddler. It was weird. It didn't make sense, but I loved it.
Oh man, that reminds me. I just started watching a movie series never mind, I can't talk about it. But anyway, somebody falls in love with a baby. It's crazy.
Oh, okay.
I'll be back in a second. I have to go get some ginger beer.
Yeah, that makes sense. The particular movie Scotty's watching makes me irrationally angry, and so I'm glad he didn't mention the name. Snorpoopus says the Germans were injecting their troops with amphetamines during World War II.
That is true.
Captain Jerk and Mr. Spunk. Okay. Oh my god. James Caserta. Big Daddy MRI says, having coffee right now. Oh, stimulants. Gorilla's Random Thought says, so the Enterprise popped the membranes, Jerry. Well, pop more than that. The AI show says Star Trek was not brought to you by Seattle's best coffee. It was also mentioned in Leonard Nimoy's memoir, I Am Spock, says Yamas Queen Jess. Oh, I read that. I should. Yeah, that's great. I love that book. I need to do a whole live stream about that one day. And it's raining outside, so if anything happens and should I lose power, Scotty R37 will be able to handle things, but hopefully we'll be fine.
Will the stream continue without you being the host being there?
It'll be fine. It'll be fine as long as you two are here, and then I will figure out what to do when you guys finish the review, and then I can stop it with my phone. Oh, I gotta make sure that I'm charging my phone. I'm not. Hold on just a moment.
Gotcha.
Could you read this chat from Yamas Queen Jess?
Yamas Queen Jess says there's no coffee in the Amoeba. Maybe they're out of coffee. Maybe that's why they're heading to Starbase 6.
And of course, that's a reference to Captain Janeway finding coffee in a nebula in Star Trek Voyager.
Why would she do that? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, they just happen across a nebula that has coffee in, like caffeine in it, rather.
Oh, okay.
Not coffee specifically, but caffeine. Because Voyager and their funny little power problems that they have, even though they seem to have power for other things.
So they had an episode where they were out of coffee and they discovered it in a nebula somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems like a stretch, but okay.
It is. Yeah. It's funny. Anyway, let's get back to this. Mark Harkness says, good thing they had to leave after this. McCoy would know that the extended use of stimulants would have harmful effects. The Enterprise would really be hard-pressed to take a follow-up mission.
Well, it depends, because the stimulants in the future could be different than the ones we have now. Now, of course, obviously, bad side effects, but we don't know what they have there in the future. That's 300 years from now.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's why I didn't say that they were narcotics, because they might not be.
I doubt they are. I doubt they're like meth, methamphetamine, or anything like that.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Keep applying thrust against the pole.
What?
So that's so you don't even have to say anything.
I'm just a child. I like dirty jokes. I'm sorry.
It works. It worked.
This is such an amazing shot, and this is one of the things that I really appreciated about the remaster.
Yeah, it does look great.
Well, pop culture. What did you like about this, please?
Well, because it reminds me of the motion picture. So this is the only time in TOS that we see it look like this, where it's self-illuminating.
And that was one of the goals of when they designed the refit of the motion picture. They wanted it to be self-illuminating.
Exactly, yes.
And having it in a zone of darkness and seeing it without the ambient lighting of, a starry galaxy. Like, this is great. And when you watch the original, I'm not shitting on the original, pardon the swears, but I'm just saying, like, when you watch it, it's just the model again with a black background, but you really feel the effect of the zone of darkness in the remaster as opposed to the original. And that's why some people may be purists and they wish to watch the original, and that's great. But there are certain elements that are introduced or at least expanded upon in the remastered special effects that do look good and fit in the spirit.
Yep. I just wish it was at least 1080p, but I will accept it. I do like it, and I think it looks good.
Oh, dude, I watched the Blu-ray. I was having a ball.
Yeah, but I think the effects are still 720p even in the Blu-ray, aren't they?
Yes. I don't know. Okay.
They were remastered at 720p at the time. That's why the ship was And a lot of Star Trek fans complain about it. That's why when they show the ship, it's not as high in detail as it could be.
Yeah, Franco Walker says great screen grab, and Phantom Boomer says good shot of the Enterprise, so they like it too. And Bang Chris.
Can I?
Hello,
May
Bang
I?
Chris. Yes, please.
Maj, Jaj, Fingan, or Dajitha.
Incredible.
I don't know what it means, but I know how to speak it.
That's
I might have just
awesome.
said I'm a jerk ass.
Well, Snortopoopus answers, Bang Chris. No, I don't.
Either way, I'm
And-
happy to hear any Klingon.
I'm happy to hear you speak Klingon so well. That's amazing.
It was only prompted. Thank you, Fang Chris.
Mm-hmm. Snortopoopus says Spork would have a fit name. Spork would have fit the naming convention, but my favorite was Spikix.
Spizix.
Zix. I think he was the founder of the Vulcan colony. On Snortopoopus. I'm not reading that anymore. I need
Mixel
vowels. I must have vowels.
Well, Mr. Mixelplick being famously one of Superman's villains, and if you could pronounce his name, then you would defeat him, sort of like Rumpelstiltskin. It was the 50s or 60s, I don't know.
Oh, and Franco Walker says Janeway wanted to use some of the gases in the nebula to top up the Voyager's fuel cells so she could replicate copy. Okay, that makes more sense. Except, well, anyway, that's all. We'll get into the power issues of Voyager today. Mark Harkness says, unlike New Trek, though, McCoy treated the use of stimulants as a serious matter.
Yeah.
And hello to Big Daddy MRI. Good to see you too.
Hello there.
Mm-hmm. Google Translate doesn't do Klingon. It doesn't? I thought it did.
Well, you've
I was
never
under the
heard
impression.
you never heard Celine Dion's "My Heart Will Go On" until you listened to it in the original Klingon.
Wait a minute. I was pretty sure. Oh, Fang Chris says it means good day. Do you speak Klingon? Oh, okay. Snortopoopus really did understand the question. That's pretty cool.
Jolie Chu.
And so the drain is continuing.
Imagine going into like a Klingon Raktajino shop and just walking up with confidence and being like, I can speak Klingon. And then you yell at the Klingon barista, Jolie Chu. And it's like, oh my God, I hate it when these Federation types pretend they know how to speak Klingon. Ugh. I do enjoy the staff meeting. And I had a thought about the conference room in the original series versus, let's say, Next Generation. And not to get too deep into it, but people, and also let's not forget that it is red alert. You can see it clearly behind Spock's head. This is, everybody has to leave the bridge. They got to go down to the conference room. And the crew knows, oh my stars, this is serious. We got the senior staff in the conference room. Whereas on the Next Generation, they just hide in the closet for a little while. Like, it's a nice closet, but the conference room doesn't allow the rest of the crew to understand what's going on. And I think that that is an effort to maintain tranquility, to make it so that no one panics.
Right. And so they can concentrate on whatever their job is supposed to be at that moment.
But the bridge module in the original Constitution class Enterprise is, you know, it's small, it's functional, it's actually modular. You can replace it, as we've seen in future iterations. But like, you've got Spock, Kirk, Scotty, McCoy, and then the three people on the right, whoever they are. Who are they?
That's a good question.
They're all going.
They're there.
They're all going
They're
to the
there.
conference room. Yeah.
They're there.
I guess
but
they're
I don't know who
reporting.
they are.
I don't know. It's Gary,
I
Carl,
know,
and
you're right.
Wanda.
Uhura should be in this meeting. I don't understand why she's not.
I think she's maintaining, like,
Oh, yeah, right. She's at her station.
and Chekhov, but Chekhov and Uhura are on the bridge, and they
Yeah.
would be the senior bridge officers, along with Mr. Leslie,
Mm-hmm.
who died last week, by the way.
He died last week. We'll never. What? Never mind. We'll never not see him again.
You know, I got a notification because it was just recently a remembering Eddie Paskey for his birthday.
Mhm.
And it said that Eddie Paskey was on 58 episodes.
Well, you tend to mention him a whole lot whenever we
I
watch the
love
episode.
Eddie
You're
Paskey.
like,
Ever since Pop Culture Curator like introduced me to Eddie Paskey, and I was like, I know that guy. And then he told me his name, and I appreciate it. I know it annoys, but I love that guy. And whenever I see him, it's like, hey, look at him.
No, I love that you mention him even when he doesn't have a line or he's just hanging around. He
barely ever has lines, but 58 episodes. And yes, John Winston is also not with us, but he was an incredible contributor to Star Trek. That's why I kind of get upset. Not upset, but like that's why I miss Sulu in this episode, is because we get Chapel, we get John Winston, even if he's playing Cowell. We get Mr. Leslie. If Sulu were here, it would be an all hands on deck, which are my favorite episodes.
Mark Harkness says, Mr. Leslie says, the reason red shirts will always beat stormtroopers. Mr. Leslie won't stay dead.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's because the episode, The Search for Mr. Leslie, says Nora Pupus Cuber, was never aired. It would have explained his reappearance.
J.J. Abrams, get on the phone. The fourth Kelvin universe movie should be Mr. Leslie? Question mark. Star Trek 11D3.
Yeah, so Scotty's gonna put all the power into wait, what did he do? I lost where I was for a second here.
I don't think they really ascertain much. Oh, wait, no. In this one, they're just like, let's get out of here, put all energy into the engines. And then Scotty's like, can you like give us a little bit of shields so we don't die? And Spock is like,
yes, that's why I wanted to mention this.
If this doesn't work, we're all going to die anyway. All you're doing is waiting.
Shields would be extraneous. Yeah, it'll just prolong our death. That's why I wanted to mention that, because that was a good addition by Spock.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you worried about the power? If we can't get out of here, we're dead. And so I don't know. I don't really like this part though, where it says that the Vulcan crew would not have done the same things that the Enterprise is doing, because they would have their logic wouldn't have allowed them to see past the illogic of the situation. When just a few scenes ago, Spock himself was able to see past the logic of the situation and say, okay, if reversing makes us lurch forward, then let's thrust forward. And so he just did the thing that he said that Kirk is trying to say that Vulcans can't do. So that doesn't pan out for me in this scene.
Well, if I may address it, Spock says this is futile. I don't think he says futile, but he says all the Vulcans would have done everything that we're doing. They would have done a full power leap forward to do the reverse of it, to try and figure out what was happening. The Vulcans would have done this. And
I agree.
And Kirk says, well, then what, like, if we're doing something in the same manner as your people, Spock. Why is this folly? And it's like, because they didn't know. They didn't know why going forward would make you go back.
Yeah, they didn't know why. That's true.
They were doing everything mathematically, and then they flipped the concept, and they still didn't know why they couldn't go farther. But it's also at this point oh my God, that's a beautiful shot as well.
I love the colors.
I know. I just know it's great. I see how the logic of the situation in being sort of a dark negative zone where up is down, left is right, black is white. It's like, I don't know how to work this. And then the amoeba kills them, I guess. Eats their energy.
Mark Harkness says, and it makes sense. Spock also has a human captain pressing him to think outside the box, and Kirk's capacity for illogic is rubbing off on Spock. Says
well, and also Spock is half human.
Yeah, that's what Mark Harkness says right here. Oh wait, I had a human captain, right? Yes, yeah, he is, and it shows in this episode a little bit. His half human side is going to come out, but this is Scotty putting all the power. They're trying to reverse by going forward with as much power as they can. And they all get ready.
Did we give an ahoy giddy up to Cardinal Skin?
We have not. Well, that's where your mind is today. Hello to Cardinal
Penetration thrust.
Yes. Makes sense.
No, I apologize. I'm being rude.
It was an accident. That's because the episode. Oh, right. I already saw that one. Okay, I guess I'm caught up then. Hooray.
And just to finalize this, in answer to your question, James Caserta, yes, it is. So the ship is not self-illuminating? It totally is, yes. Anyway, everyone dances as the ship lurches.
I always think it would be so fun to be stuck, one of the background actors just flying around during this part.
Is it okay if I play the blooper from this scene?
Please do.
All right, give me a moment. I'll pull it out.
That'd be great. I'd love to see that. How long will power hold out? And long enough to see the blooper from Popcorn
2 hours. 2 hours, Captain. I'll do my best.
Oh, you remember.
At this rate, plus the drain on all systems, 2 hours, sir.
And they can't figure out what it is, but we finally get to see it.
Isn't it that the negative zone is sort of like the web for the spider? And once there is a disturbance in the negative zone or the dark zone, that's when, this weird looking
thing comes up to wrap you up and
why not
all your power. Well, it's already sapping the power too.
This is what happens to the planets and the ships.
It doesn't waste any time consuming you. It starts right away. The spider will save you for later. Let's see. I'm waiting for the blooper, but I guess while I'm waiting for the blooper, I'm going to read this bit from the book. And it says, it starts with a quote from Captain Kirk. No speculation, no information, nothing. I've asked you 3 times for information on that, and you've been unable to supply it.
I'm sorry?
You're sorry?
Is it, may I not hear? Or is everyone not hearing?
Only.
It's queued up when you're ready, Jill.
Oh, okay. Scotty, you can't hear us?
I can hear you now.
Oh, good. You're scaring me.
This is a terrifying Yeah. Hey, D, could you not touch the boobs of my mistress?
Right.
You're
That's awesome.
inadvertently groping my future wife.
He's protecting her as she's tumbling down during
Oh, tumbling.
Safety handles.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so I'm going to continue reading from the book.
I must excuse myself for just one moment.
Okay. No, that was a great blooper. Thank you so much. I didn't know you were going to have one today. What a great surprise. Thank you, Pop Culture Curator.
My pleasure. Good. Yeah, it's great. I don't know. I think it's fascinating to have the blooper reels so that we can add things like this. It kind of puts it in perspective.
It does. I wish there were more different behind the scenes like clips and things.
Yeah, I had some from Game Shoes of Triskelion that I wish I could have shared but of course I wasn't able to attend.
Wow. Well, the book says, as you may suspect, the one-celled organism that attacks the Enterprise isn't actually an amoeba. It's it's a visual effect created by Van der Veer photo effects. While the exact process that Frank Van der Veer and his team used is undocumented, it appears to be a colored liquid, most likely mineral oil, pressed between two closely spaced, nearly parallel sheets of glass. By moving one of the sheets very slightly, the effects artist could make the liquid undulate a bit, just enough to make the thing look alive. This rather low-tech technique was used extensively during the 1960s, primarily during the light shows that were a part of the era's enhanced rock and roll concerts. While the bands were on stage performing, techs from the lighting companies would sit in the rear of the hall, beaming wave-like swirls of bright colors into the musicians and the screen behind them. The effect was similar to, but much more basic than, practiced by Van der Veer.
That is correct.
Van der Veer. A mixture of mineral oil and food coloring was dripped into a large piece of glass, and the glass was then placed under an overhead projector. As the glass was tilted, wildly psychedelic patterns would form and appear to spread across the stage in a wave of living color. Occasionally, the text would add brine shrimp to the mixture, and the elastic flow would shimmy with tiny living dots darting to and fro. This is Excursion Through Time and Space, brought to you by a survivor of the 1960s. Thank you, Paula. And so the AI show says, when confronted with the unknown, a crew would react with the known. And Snortapoopa says, and at no point in this episode did they try reversing the polarity on the enterociter.
Interocitor?
Interocitor. What's an interocitor? An interocitor is a fictional multifunctional device that first appeared in the Alien Machine. Oh. Interesting. Thank you, Sarapoopas Cuber. You got me interested in the interocitor.
Are you there, Jill?
Yes, I'm here. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. Just making sure everything's all right.
Oh, no, things are not all right, unfortunately. I am not even close to finishing this episode, and I got word that I have to go pick up my children.
Oh well, family comes first.
Yeah, family does come first, but oh my goodness, I have so many pages to go. And so much to read and stuff to do, and I don't want to end it. Let me see where's Scotty? Let's see if maybe
Well, maybe we could finish it next week.
next
Maybe we could
week.
do like a part 2 and then do the next
Well,
episode next week. Like like episode and a half.
I'll be right back, and I'm gonna see what I can do.
Okay.
Can you read some of the chat from this point? It's at 103.
I'm looking now. I'll be right there. There we go. Mark Harkness says, after a certain point, a totally logical mindset also calls for one to accept that the problem is And Franco Walker says, don't forget the poll, folks. Absolutely, everybody. If you haven't done so yet, please vote in the poll. Give us your rating for this episode and what you think about it. And Big Daddy MRI says, my mouse just died. Oh, computer mouse changed batteries. Rebooted computer. It's dead, Jim. Yeah. I used to have one of those kind, but unfortunately now mine's USB rechargeable, which is totally an excellent upgrade, which I highly recommend. Franco Walker says, brilliant. And Big Daddy MRI says, LOL. Snortapoopus says, that's why morale in sickbay is so high. And James Caserta says, cold shower. And the AI show says, at Mark, precisely, being logical and rational is also about accepting there are mysteries and inexplicable situations in life. And Snortapoopus says, what? It's not really a giant amoeba? Next you'll be telling me the Enterprise is only a model. And James Caserta says, when is the episode where the Beatles beam aboard? I think you're thinking about Gilligan's Island. Snortapoopus says that James Caserta, space hippies? And the AI show says that James Season 3, the Abbey Road Conundrum, LOL. Cardinal Sin says, as seen on this island Earth and MSG3K, the movie when they riff this island Earth. The Abbey Road Complex, says James Caserta. And Snortapoopus says, the Interroster first appeared in the movie This Island Earth in 1955. Right, it was a triangular device. Big Daddy MRI says, don't cross the stream, Snort. And Franco Walker says, family first, Jill. Absolutely, I agree. James Caserta says, forget your children. No, I don't think so. Jill never did that. And Ola Greg says, danger. Jill must leave, arms waving wildly. That's right, Ola Greg. Snortapoopus says, sell the children, finish the episode.
Sell the children. It's so funny you say that right now, but I just got off the phone with my mother, and I don't deserve such a wonderful mother as her. She loves her grandchildren, and she's going to pick them up for me. And,
very cool.
And so I'm okay. And oh man, everybody must love you reading these chats, Pop Culture Curator, because we've got some new listeners.
Oh, I'm glad I have a voice today, so that really helps. So it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
And we left off at Big Daddy MRI at 111.
111. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Oh, and now we're in the same time zone, so it makes sense. Oh, did Jill tap out? I was about to, but then Grandma came to the rescue.
Grandma and Antiderivative Grandma.
Antiderivative Grandma. My mother. The AI show says, if John Carpenter directed this episode, it would be called The Organism. The Organism. Or The Really Big Thing. And Scotty needs 3 minutes. Not too long.
Sounds good.
Big Daddy Amorai says, I don't have a single-celled Hammond organism. I have to cross the streams to get to the other side, says Stormy Bloopus. Oh, great. Great work, Pop Culture Curator. Thank you.
Anytime. My pleasure. Enjoy it. Just glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. And so this is a 11,000-mile long single-cell creature.
Notice how they use miles instead of the metric system.
Oh, good
Kilometers.
point. They should be using kilometers. Interesting. That is it. I'm glad you pointed that out. And of course, it feeds on energy. This is where they figure out that they can't use weapons against it because of that, I think.
Yes, exactly.
And it can reproduce like other organisms, but the crew, they don't know about, I guess they don't know too much yet. But they do know that it needs to be destroyed because it's going to, otherwise the ship and crew will be destroyed. And so this is the part where they're just analyzing it still. It's studded with space debris. So the Intrepid is likely not the first ship it's devoured.
Well, plus, yeah, but didn't it do it a whole galaxy or something like that?
Yeah,
So there's
right.
probably
The whole
planets and
solar
everything
system.
else,
Yeah,
right?
whole solar system. Yeah, billions of people. So that's why they have time. They wouldn't have time at all, but it just ate. So it's like, all right, I'm okay. At least that's what the impression I get from the episode.
Yeah, and I don't think they ever established it as a malicious being. It simply exists, I think.
Yeah, it's an innocent creature,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't know exactly what it's doing, but it's also not intelligent. It's not sentient, so
Correct. It's just destructive, unfortunately.
yeah. Unfortunately, it's a force of nature. It's less complex than a bacterium.
Yes.
And so they get a picture of an amoeba on the computer screen to compare.
I think that may be the remastered effects. I don't remember it looking like that in the original series. Maybe when Scotty comes back, we can ask him.
Oh, Sean Carter says Commodore Decker refers to the Doomsday Machine as miles long also. But that reminds me that I think some of the music from this episode is from the Doomsday Machine.
Yes. And that is true, Sean.
Kirk switches from Imperial to metric in the same episode. Orla Greg says, Jill, sting, danger! Arms waving wildly.
Danger, danger.
It'll be okay. Everybody will be fine. I got it squared away. And Big Daddy says, I'm fastening my seatbelt. I might be in for a bumpy ride. Another innocent, mindless creature murdered just to save a few planets. Yeah, billions. Yeah, billions were killed. So that's why you don't question the need to destroy this thing. It establishes the threat pretty well. And so now this is the scene where both McCoy and Spock decide to volunteer to get into the creature from inside the creature itself. They want to volunteer to explore the creature to figure out more about it.
Right, they're very competitive in this scene.
Because they both have their own expertise that they think would be more beneficial.
Right, but Bones as a doctor and Spock as a scientist.
Correct. And so that's where we get this personal log. It's a longer one. I wanted Scotty for this one. Where is he? He said 3 minutes. Space Jesus? Why do you say that, James Caserta? I don't know. Oh, because I don't know. James Caserta, explain yourself. Euler Greg says the creature was a war criminal. Well, it didn't know. It's unknowingly killing things.
Yes.
I don't think it's not aware of what it's doing. It's just eating.
Simply existing, I think, and then unfortunately part of its existence is absorbing things.
That's why they call it a virus, but a virus can't live on its own as an entity. So it's that's why I say more like a bacteria, but less complex.
Yes.
Because it can live by itself. Mark Harkness, but I guess I understand the virus thing because the virus needs a living organism to live inside of it. And the analogy is that the universe is the organism the creature is in. And that's where they're going to go pretty soon in the episode. Mark Harkness says, so, a question. Does the organism only affect the energy and not the matter of the ship? I think what it is that it's only affecting the energy right now. It's draining the energy of the ship and of the crew.
Well,
So
it affected the Intrepid.
Yeah, and it did. There's but eventually it will get to the matter of the ship.
Yes.
Because you find space debris inside of it. Euler Greg says it also ruins the ship's paint job mark. Yes. Big Daddy MRI likes this episode very much.
I agree. Same here.
And Stormpoopus says, where was Kirk and Enterprise when the Vogons destroyed Earth? Just to put into in a hyperspace bypass.
The Vogons?
Oh, the Vogons, that's a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where
Gotcha.
the Vogons are putting in a hyperspace drive roadway, just like the Earthlings were putting a highway in the middle of the lead character's house. So it's Hitchhikers. That's great.
Gotcha.
I did a live stream on it. Could it be a particle of preanimate antimatter? Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I need to copy this. If it fits, all of it fits or not? Yeah, it does. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't. I need all of this. All right. Scotty took too long to get back. Pop Culture Curator, could you read this captain's log?
Absolutely. Captain's personal log. Stardate 4309.2. We have established that the thing which destroyed the USS Intrepid and the Gamma 7A system is an incredibly huge but simple cellular being whose energies are totally destructive to all known life. Both Mr. Spock and Dr. McCoy have volunteered to go in a specially equipped shuttlecraft to penetrate the cell, find a way to destroy it, and free the ship. Dr. McCoy has the medical biological knowledge. Mr. Spock is better suited physically and emotionally. To stand the stress, both are right, both are capable. And which of my friends do I condemn to death? Condemn to death. Thank you. Sorry.
No, that was great. Thank you. And so that is the major crux of the episode, the question that as presented in the summary of the episode that I read at the beginning. And both
The stakes are much higher too. That's the reason why I like the fact that the command team get involved. I know, no offense, and I don't like bringing it up, but that's one of the fallacies I see with TNG. I like it when the command team is involved like this because it makes the stakes much higher. Rather than it brings the drama up and makes the episode more interesting. But that's just my opinion.
Well, that's true. Well, that is the difference between the original series and TNG, whereas the original series was a big story of the Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. TNG kind of spread it out quite a bit.
Yes. And then diluted it with subplots. So you spread it out and then dilute.
I do love TNG.
I know. I'm just joking.
No, you're not. It's okay. It's okay. But we are about to see the shuttlecraft, so this is pretty great. I love it when you get to go into the shuttlecraft. And so
Right,
Kirk
and
makes
this
his big decision.
right.
I'm
This
sorry.
is where the competition is really high between Spock and McCoy, and I really like it.
Finally, he decides, I'm sorry, Mr. Spock, you're the best qualified to go. And I just love this interchange between Spock and McCoy.
Yeah, McCoy is definitely not happy.
I wonder what happened to Scotty. Hold on just a second. See if he's told me. No? Guess not. Okay. Where did he go? All right. And Franco Walker says Arthur Dent. Yes, that's the name of the main character in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. JT Kirk. Hey, JT Kirk. He says, could it be a particle of preanimate antimatter caught in the sensor matrix? Yes, it could, JT. Nice reference, says Euler Greg. Nothing really antimatters to me, says James Caserta. He said, she said, convoluted mind twist. But I do love McCoy and Spock here. Spock says, I kind of want to read this. Let me get this into the chat. I copied it here into my document. So for some reason, I really like these pieces of dialogue enough.
Yes, they are great. It's the great interchange between the two.
So you want to be Spock or McCoy?
I can be McCoy. I know you like Spock, so I'll be McCoy.
I do. Okay, let's do that. All right, almost there. Do not suffer so, Doctor. This is not the first time superior capability has proven more valuable than professional credentials.
Nothing has been proven yet, Spock. The DNA code analyzer will give you the fundamental structure of the thing. You'll need readings on 3 light wavelengths from the enzyme recorder.
I am familiar with the equipment, Doctor. We're wasting time. The shuttlecraft is ready.
You're determined not to let me share in this, aren't you?
This is not a competition, Doctor. Whether you understand it or not, grant me my own kind of dignity.
Vulcan dignity? How can I grant you what I don't understand?
Then employ one of your own superstitions. Wish me luck. Silence and stares, then McCoy opens the hangar deck door. Spock walks across and into the Galileo. The door is shut.
Good luck, Spock. And I want to point out something on this console here. Hangar is spelled Hanger. It should be Hangar.
Where do you see that?
Hangar deck pressure right there. Hanger. It should be Hangar.
Oh, that makes. Oh my goodness! Thanks for pointing that out.
No problem.
Oh, and here's this is from the book, the 365 book. We get to see the blue screen here with the
Sweet.
shuttlecraft.
Fantastic.
I like seeing stuff like that. Anytime something like that behind the scenes is in the book, I'll put it up. And I did have a video for this, but it kind of cuts off Spock at the end there for some reason because I didn't clip it myself. It's from the website, the IO yarn.
It shows McCoy's pride. He's afraid to say it to Spock directly.
Yeah, but it gave her a really great reaction when you're watching it. You're like, you're hoping he's gonna say it, and he does, and it's just very satisfying.
Yes, it is. I agree.
I wonder. All right.
What happened? What did I miss? Good luck, Spock.
Yes, you missed it. You missed.
No, but it's great.
Pop Culture Curator and I read the scene for
That's amazing. Are you going to make
great.
it into a short?
I don't know. I didn't line up the images, so if I do, I'll have to fix the images.
All right.
Scotty, I have a question. Do you notice anything different about the sign on next to McCoy on his left, on the console, on the panel?
Here, I'll make it bigger for you.
What, the hangar deck pressure?
Uh-huh.
What about it? The only thing I noticed about it was... No, I didn't.
It should be
no,
spelled
I don't.
It should be spelled Hangar. Hangar is like a closed hanger.
How much? I'm sorry. What is the spelling supposed to be?
Hangar.
Oh, right. Okay. Interesting. I never noticed that, but that's because I'm illiterate.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't notice it either, and
When I was younger, I didn't notice, but I did watching this. I was like, wait a minute, that's not how a hangar deck is spelled, but oh well.
Also, I want
Well,
to
you
welcome...
have history with that. That's amazing.
Oh, maybe in the future it's spelled different.
Yeah.
Or
Hey,
change.
Hey, Kapla, BirdoPrey, good to see
Yeah,
you.
welcome.
Kapla. Hello, world. It's BirdoPrey5. Kapla. I'm sorry I'm so late.
Kapla, Bird. You're not late. You're just
You're better
on
late
time.
than never. Yeah, you're always welcome.
I got here
Whenever.
as soon as I could. Because this is such a great episode. A+.
Yeah, whenever.
ditto.
It doesn't matter if we're at the beginning of the review or middle, end. You're always welcome to jump in.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad you like this episode.
Oh.
This is one of my favorite parts where Spock gets to go inside the shuttlecraft.
I love about this episode is that's so backwards compared to everything else that we know about TOS, Trek. I mean, from the very beginning of the episode, nobody wants to go on this mission. Usually it's like, oh, you think Captain Kirk, the Enterprise, they want to go out. They want to go boldly. And from the very beginning of this episode, they're like, we're tired. I just want to, get on a soft planet, in quotes, as McCoy is looking at him as he's eyeing, some of the female crew members. He's like, I just want to be lying on a soft planet. And, he's like, stop, we're ready. We're coming in for vacation. Isn't there some other ship you can have go, deal with this, whatever? And then, like, as matter of factly, an entire ship is lost. And then, even more matter of factly, 1 billion plus civilization is lost. It's like Earth is just gone. Somebody else's Earth, but billions of people dead. And barely gets a mention. I mean, like in the Starfleet news, Is that even going to come up by like, Omicron Persei 6 erased from existence today due to Space Amoeba?
Well, and if I may interject, like, are there council deliberations on Vulcan as to whether or not full Vulcan crews should man a Federation or a Starfleet vessel? Like, should we diversify our crews so that not 400 of our people are eliminated in dangerous astral situations?
Well, I would assume that already logically came up, and they were okay with the risk of that happening, since Vulcans, I'm sure, could figure out that if you have an all Vulcan crew, there's a pretty good chance the ship could be lost. And I mean, even going back to Enterprise, clearly the Vulcans had lost ships before. It's not new to them. But I could see what you're saying. Anyway, it's just this particular episode, there just seem to be so many differences compared to your typical episode.
Yeah, even the finest Starfleet vessel needs to take a break every once in a while, and we get to see that.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Bones and well, I mean, we always see Bones and Spock disagree, but to see Kirk actually like phrase it, "I'm sorry," and then he tells out, "No, I'm sorry because I'm picking you to die." Like he
and
tricked me.
McCoy is he does kind of trick them. McCoy thinks it's him, and he's getting ready to go. And
I honestly thought Kirk was going to
Psych.
choose himself. That's what confused me the most. It was like, obviously Captain Kirk is going to pick himself to sacrifice.
He
does, though.
He did mention he wanted to do it, but they convinced him that he shouldn't.
Still, everything I thought I knew about Star Trek went out the window with this episode. It subverted my expectations, but in a good way, in a believable way, not in the JJ way.
Very cool.
Well, I don't think that this episode necessarily has to be held up against a yardstick of something that isn't as good. I think that this is like the character interactions between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy are fantastic. And Kirk does say, "I'm a better command pilot than you are," to McCoy. And Spock says, "Precisely why you are indispensable. And you don't have a science background."
Exactly.
The entire reason that I am the primary candidate is I am physically superior, I am intellectually capable, and we need you, Captain, on this ship. Something that would have been adopted in The Next Generation, with Riker saying to Picard, "I am responsible for the dangerous parts of this mission. You are not beaming down." And I appreciated that in terms of the consistency of Starfleet regulations.
Sure. I also love that this is the episode where we get the meme that's in the top corner.
Yeah. I love it.
It's always so much fun to watch a Star Trek episode and then realize where the memes, where the GIFs come from.
I wanted to point out also, this is the last episode of TOS where we see the interior of the Galileo or the shuttlecraft in general.
Oh, my.
The area of penetration will no doubt be sensitive. Love it.
That is my Tinder profile, yes.
Oh, contact in 6 seconds. It was quick.
Yeah, 4 6.
I like how like Scotty is consistently through this episode providing pushback. Not contrary to the captain. He does pardon himself and say, "I'm sorry for saying it this way."
Well, it makes sense too, because the ship is going through a lot of stress in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the power will have the shields have will only last another 47 minutes at this point.
Would you say when Spock says this, you would have not have survived it? Would you say he's gloating?
Yes. This is
Right.
this part is some half of his. Oh, give me just a moment, please.
I thought
Absolutely.
that when he was thrown from his command chair, that Spock experienced some physical damage that McCoy himself would not have been able to,
Survive.
he wouldn't have survived. Like, I think Spock was telling the truth. Like, I don't think he's lying. I don't think he's rubbing things in McCoy's nose. I think he's like, by the way, your ribs would have been broken and your lung would have been pierced.
I feel
I
like
think
it's both, but go ahead, Bird.
Sorry. I was going to say, I think Spock believes what he's saying. I'm just not sure that it's necessarily true.
Fair enough. I'm usually on McCoy's side, but in this particular instance.
Well, if you look at Spock's face when he's delivering that line, he is taking some kind of. I think he's taking some kind of. I don't know. I hesitate to say joy, but there's some kind of vague Vulcan emotion there that he has when he's saying it that I think speaks to him.
Let's look back
his competition with McCoy.
If we look back upon Amok Time, when talking about thinner atmospheres and less oxygen content, we are told that Mr. Spock does reduce environmental controls, life support, and
yes, he does.
And he has to do that for the shields, for the power that he is conserving. And I think that maybe McCoy would not have. I love McCoy Leonard H.
Yeah, I feel like he might have.
Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying. I think Spock is physically, as Kirk said in his personal log in his quarters, he's physically more adept at such a situation.
Agreed. I believe that McCoy might have survived that initial shock, but in terms of being able to survive the turning down the life support and still be conscious, I don't think he could have done that part.
Plus, he was all hepped up on stimulants. The only person not to take the stimulants in this episode is Spock.
Yeah, he hasn't needed it. Even though his energy is drained too.
Spock, do you read me? Spock!
They can't. Yeah, they lose voice contact with him, so he rams the side of the ship. He kicked it in the side to let us know.
Yeah, what's interesting too is I was wondering, considering the remastered version, if they were going to show that, but no, they didn't.
No,
the remastered is very faithful to the original intent of the episodes, and I know I've said it before, but I can't help but express it emphatically, is that they didn't special edition this. They heightened it. They made it sort of accessible, and I know it's a poor way to put it, but to modern audiences, like, there's something that looks askew if you're watching 1960s special effects and you're like, this looks cheesy and cheap, when we know that it's not cheesy and cheap. It's just the way they filmed it. It was a very expensive process at the time. It was really, really good. But if you want to watch it with the new effects, please feel free. And I am blessed, and you all are blessed with the original special effects available on the physical release of the Blu-rays. Go and get them.
Well, when they remastered it, didn't they also had to adhere to the original running time?
Yeah, but I think they sort of wiggled around that just because of broadcast editing. Like, there are there are scenes that have been removed for broadcast, and so I don't know how strictly they adhere.
Gotcha.
It's a good question. And I think this is in reference to your Hangar correction, spelling correction. Sean Carter says, "Good catch, Pop. You'd make a good script supervisor."
Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Sean.
JT Kirk says, "The hangar deck is where the ship's laundry is located."
That's exactly it, right?
No spell check in Starfleet. And also, Six is here. Hey, Six. She also says to you, "Well spotted." This is obviously the deck where they keep their extra clothing. No wire hangers, says Snow to Purpose Keeper from that movie, Mommy Dearest.
Mommy Dearest, yes.
Mark Harkness says, "That was Roddenberry's excuse for any signage error. The spelling changed." That'd be
A good
funny if he
excuse.
actually said that. The spelling changed in the future.
And the other
So-
thing I always thought was like backwards compared to what, Starfleet would usually do was from the very beginning, they're like, we got to kill this thing. It wasn't like, oh, let's try to communicate with it, or isn't it a shame we've got to destroy this newfound life form?
Yeah.
No, from the very beginning, like, gotta kill it. Gotta
It's like
get
it's a force of nature.
But I think that that's part of the reason that they show the stock footage or the scientific footage of the amoeba and say, this is such a simple organism. Basically, what it does is eat and reproduce. That's what it does. There is no communication. It is not intelligent. It is reacting upon base instinct.
Yeah, it is. And if it is allowed to continue, it's going to continue to multiply until it has consumed the entire universe. So it makes sense that they have to get rid of it. And Mark Harkness says the USS Tacubra was a very deliberately all Vulcan crew in Cisco's time. Yeah, they played baseball, right?
Competition.
Nordapupus says Starfleet Command, billions of sentient beings were killed. Kirk, we're tired and grumpy, and we lost 6 red shirts last week.
Oh, Poopus, come on. And then he says, this is our job. This is what we're going to do. And while we're all tired and we want to go on vacation, we have to stop this from destroying the galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, they didn't shirk from their duty or anything. They're just like, hey, is anyone else around? We're kind of tired.
I just want to
says-
take my boots off.
Ooh. Kirk has to admit that his skill set is not what the situation needs. Yeah, right. He doesn't have the science background. I mean, he is very intelligent, but he's not as much of a scientist as Spock. Yama's Queen Dress says, "Shut up, Spock. We're rescuing you." Oh, that's the line that we're coming up on. Yes.
Yes, top right corner.
Huh. Yeah.
Shut up, Spock.
Here, since she said it.
Shut up, Spock. We're rescuing you.
Mer.
There we go. And then look at the top right corner. They made sure that none of their remastered effects required the deletion of any dialogue, says Snortopupus.
Yeah, but it's still like, I think that there are scenes in this that were cut out for broadcast.
Oh,
Are you talking about
always...
original broadcast or syndication?
Syndication.
Well, that is definite because a lot of shows were cut down for time, but that would depend on what local stations were airing them. So you could go to one city and see a different version than you would see in another because they were all sent to complete versions.
Yeah, but they had to make more room for Sponsors.
Right, sponsors. And as the years pass by, more and more and more sponsors, unfortunately.
Hello to Cardinal Sin. Ahoy,
Oh.
Big Daddy.
Oh, I was talking. I'm sorry. I muted myself.
How do you not know?
Because I have a button on my microphone.
Oh, makes sense.
It's a lovely button. I love this button.
Well, sometimes it makes it so we can't hear you.
I know. But
That's
sometimes
why
when
I
I
don't
do
like
that, though,
button.
no, but it's a good button because sometimes somebody starts to say something and I'm muted, and so we actually get to hear what they have to say, and it makes me so happy.
I hate that, except when it's me.
Yes, and yeah, Big Daddy is saying hello, and Cardinal Sin says, "Oh, thanks, Stream Elements, because it posted a link to his channel. Check out his channel for some fun stuff." And afternoon to SP4H. Great to see you here today.
Good to see you, Sporf.
JT Kirk says, "Did it destroy Ryza? No? Okay, we're good."
I want to make sure it didn't destroy Delta 4.
Pro tip, just use the mute button in StreamYard. No. JT Kirk says, "Bill, push the button." I could. I love it. Jim says hello. Hello.
Hello, Jim. Good to see you.
Commodore.
Oh, now they have no more than an hour left on their power. And Spock radio's back. Oh, he's going to. He's going to radio back on how to destroy the creature, but his transmissions give him fade out, so they miss exactly how to do it.
Well, and also, they think Spock is dead.
Yeah, they do. And they're trying to figure out what he was trying to say as they think he died.
Well, doesn't McCoy still hold out hope that Spock's alive?
Yes.
I thought there was a line where McCoy mentions that.
He said something about him and all that stuff. He has to keep believing. Yeah, there it is.
You want to read it, Bird?
Or am I so sentimental that I just have to keep believing that he's still alive out there in that mass of protoplasm?
Yeah.
He knew the... Yeah.
Oh,
was
yeah.
Kirk.
Yeah, that's Kirk. Yeah, he knew the odds. He volunteered. And so, yeah, you're right. And that's part of the whole story between McCoy and Spock. They have
I think part of it's Bones is regretting that he didn't say goodbye.
Franco was referring to the repeat of the originals and not the remastered. And when he says when they were shown over here in the 90s, it was on BBC. They don't have any ads, so no trimming of the episodes. Oh, that's great.
Oh wow, you guys were lucky.
Oiler Greg says they desecrated great art by cutting so much of the episodes. I refuse to watch commercials now, and my soul is more at peace without them.
Yeah, especially now. I know they do air this on certain networks like MeTV and things like that, and it's abysmal how much they cut out. And
Well,
the motion smoothness, the digital smoothness they add, it looks terrible.
I just have to advocate for like physical media. If you are a fan of this show and you want to see it in its entirety, I would recommend getting it that way. Don't watch it on broadcast or on streaming. Who knows? Paramount Plus, Yahoo 7, whatever they're going to show it on. Like, get a copy for yourself. Buy the book and celebrate the show. Watch it when you want to. This is amazing. Don't let yourself be subjected to the editors of profit. This is amazing.
Right. Sometimes they will actually cut out right in the middle of the scene. They'll cut out and go straight to a commercial, and you'll never get the resolution. It makes no sense. They literally butcher the episodes.
I understand the ease of watching it streaming, but I don't know. I want the book. I want the physical copy. I want something that I will be guaranteed that when I want to watch, I'll get it. not something that if I flip a switch and I find out that someone's license has transferred to another broadcast energy transmitter. Like, I don't care, man. I just want to watch Star Trek, and hopefully I get to. So I'm never reliant on anything else. Get the tome.
I agree, Scotty. Buy the Blu-rays.
The book. And if you
Jimmy
can't afford
Lampkin
it, steal it. Go to the library.
Oh yeah, go to the library.
Fight a librarian.
You don't have to steal it to check things out from the library. You just need a library card, Scotty.
Oh, I always go too extensive. I'm like very reactionary.
I think if you steal from the library, they charge you quite a bit.
This is why I got arrested the last time I punched out a librarian. But it was Mr. Atos.
Jim asks, "Where's Captain Crunch?" And he says, "I'm Infinity. Sorry, he's in New
He
Zealand."
died.
You asked that last time. He's still in New Zealand. I don't know. I mean, he's not here.
He didn't die.
Cinema Gulp says, "The editor's a prophet. I need to get a hold of them. Hook it up, Scotty."
I will get you in touch with the editors of Prophet.
I disagree. The cut versions are fine. Greed is eternal. Rules of acquisition, says JT Kirk.
Once you have their money, never give it back.
That is a rule.
First rule.
The first. The AI show says TV shows aren't paintings. TV is a commercial medium. The best way to see TV shows entirely is on DVD Blu-ray. You can see it in its entirety. And Franco Walker
Agreed.
says, "I taped them off the BBC onto VHS. The end credits look like they do now." Daniel says, "Scotty, do you remember the animated TV show The Critic?" Yes.
I do. It stinks.
I actually think it's
Yes.
hilarious.
Yeah,
It is good, but I was using the thing.
I like that the Klingons go to the UN school. Do you guys remember that? You made me
No, I
feel
need
like
to
I'm in-
rewatch it.
Okay, so the critic's son goes to the United Nations school, and because the United Nations schools are obviously all kids from all across the planet, but they also have Klingons that literally beam down and stuff and talk Klingon. I guess I'm the only one who remembers it, but it's true.
Yeah.
I haven't
No, I
seen the
believe
whole
you. That's
series.
cool. Yeah, I need to.
I remember
could
it.
watch it. I want to watch it.
And if you're sidebar into the Critic, a lot of it takes it's much more about his personal life, and it's kind of along the same line as Dr. Katz therapist or whatever. Like, it's a very strange show, but if you have the opportunity, I would check it out. And I haven't seen that episode, BirdoPrey, so I'll definitely.
I mean, it's
If there
kind
are
of a running
Klingons-
gag. It's not one episode; it's through several episodes.
Well,
The Klingons make a
fine, I'll watch it.
reappearance.
You want to do a watch party instead of Twilight Zone? We'll move
I guess
on to
I
the
gotta
Critic.
find the episodes where the critic, the
I hope so.
Klingon showing the critic. Not anytime soon, but maybe one day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one day.
eventually.
One day.
Someone
I
else wants to do the hard work. That's fine too.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, someone could do the hard work of watching The Critic for all of the Star Trek references, and then they can give you the episodes and see if there are any more. And then you can go through
I'll make
it.
a Venn diagram.
And so they get the idea. They talk about the ship being antibodies to destroy the disease of the
Jill, this screenshot is kind of blurry. Is this
Yeah,
because
it's because the
Can
ship
we
is
get-
shaking.
oh
Look, it's even more blurry.
I thought your screenshots were not in HD.
No, this is intentional
Oh,
because they're becoming the antibodies. It gives Kirk has the idea of using a charge of antimatter in the chromosome body to destroy the entity. And so the ship is going into the creature itself. With and a probe with antimatter is implanted at point blank range to prevent the currents in the protoplasm from carrying it away from its target. So if they just sent the probe out from a farther distance away, it could drift because of the eddies and currents of the
Oh my
protoplasm.
God.
Remember
Do I
that?
need my better glasses? What's going on?
I just said
Oh,
what's
wait,
going
this is
on.
no, not that. Oh my God. Oh my God. I wish I had written a Chekhov goes flying. Scotty falls into a bulkhead. Uhura falls off her chair. Kirk is shaking and shimmying. Lieutenant Cowell goes and flies. All of a sudden, they're surrounded by goo.
And it explodes.
All right. Erupts.
Erupts. Okay.
I don't know.
And that makes more sense because everybody survives somehow.
I feel like everyone should be sweatier. They're all sort of pressed to the limit by stimulants.
Well, you're right. McCoy says we'd cook ourselves along with that massive protoplasm out there if they tried to use their weapons.
Is the protoplasm warm?
I don't know.
Hmm.
It has a negative energy charge. Does that help?
You know, I've been accused of having a negative energy charge.
So you could be defeated with antimatter.
Usually, yes.
And so they're going to the nucleus. The nucleus of the
No,
amoeba.
no, I'm totally in. I'm totally in. That's going to be my new Tinder profile. How soon to the nucleus? That'll be what I put beneath.
They'll implant
My-
the antimatter.
Yes.
Implant it
Forward
and back
thrust.
away.
Yeah. What? Sounds rude.
It is. No, that's it's so fun. Oh, and this is the part where everybody's afraid they're about to die. And so
They've
personal
been-
log.
Sorry. This is yours.
Commander Spock, USS Enterprise. I have noted the passage of the Enterprise on its way to whatever awaits it. If this record should survive me, I wish it known that I bequeath my highest commendation and testimonial to the captain, officers, and crew of the Enterprise, the finest starship in the fleet. And then Kirk has a similar log entry. And could you read it for me?
Who?
See. You.
Bird of Prey?
Or
I
Bird
assume she meant you, Scotty, since you're the user.
All right, I'll do it. I was trying to be gracious.
No, but you're right. I don't know. Who should read?
I kind of want to hear Bird of Prey do it.
Okay, Bird, please read.
If we should fail in our attempt to destroy it.
Oh, could you read it from
I don't have
the private?
from the private chat. Sorry.
Yes.
We have arrived at the chromosome body, the nucleus of the organism. If we should fail in our attempt to destroy it, or be unable to free ourselves, I wish to record my recommendations for the following personnel, that they receive special citation. Lieutenant Commander Leonard McCoy, Lieutenant Commander Montgomery Scott, Officers Chekhov, Kyle, Uhura, and my highest commendation for Commander Spock, Science Officer, who gave his life in the performance of his duty.
Thank you. That was great.
Yes, well done.
That was it. That was applause.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And so they send off the probe. They don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully,
Is this like one of the first instances of probes? I feel like we've had this.
I'll be honest, I
conversation
really don't
before.
remember hearing about them all that often.
Right.
So I think if it's not the first, it's up there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's been one, but I can't tell you which one. Somebody in the chat, tell us. When have we also used probes before this? Probes from the Enterprise to explore, or communication probes. I don't know.
Look at all the applause in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, a lot of people were appreciative of that dramatic retelling.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. Franco
I was
Walker
a fan.
and Yamas Queen Jess
Yes.
gave some applause. And
Mhm.
Big Daddy MRI says hail to BirdoPrey5.
Hail, Big Daddy MRI. Thank you. Okay.
Daniel's Hot Topic says the Klingons go to UN school. I have not seen that episode yet, which is odd because I have been watching it since 1994 when it came out. The critics' take on Star Trek V, it stinks. Oh, the cameraman was drinking.
The piano has been drinking. You're not a... You don't
What?
like that?
What? I don't like what? It was not related to the episode. You can read it if you want to.
Oh, no. I wasn't referring to that. I was talking about... oh, my God. I forgot his name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I was not listening to you.
Who sings The Piano Has Been Drinking?
Oh, I don't know
Tom
that.
Waits.
I didn't know that was a song.
It is. The Piano Has Been Drinking.
The piano has been drinking. No, I was thinking when I was doing prep for this episode, I was thinking of the song Amoeba by the Adolescents.
I heard it. You sent it.
Yeah,
That was great.
I know. I did. It erupted in sticky stuff after penetration. But
I
it
don't
does.
know. Does it? Does it
I don't know.
erupt?
I don't know. I thought it exploded. We must make it
Well-
through the membrane before that thing explodes. Forward thrust off 1/10 of a second. Probe launched. And despite what Spock said, it's still pretty sensitive. It's lodged in the nucleus near the chromosome bodies. And so Mr. Kyle is told to back us out the way we came in.
It's not Kyle. It's Cowell. It's a different character. I hate to say it.
I'm just reading the captions the way
I
they
know,
are.
but your
It's
captions
Spock.
are incorrect.
Okay. The metallic substance outside of the ship. Spock. It's Spock. They got Spock. Spock's been quiet. Spock's been there this whole time, but he's just been quiet. And this is the part where they say, he says, "Don't bother wasting your energy on me." And they're like, shut up. We're gonna rescue you.
The goods of the many outweigh the goods of the few, or the one. And unfortunately, I'm kind of on Scotty's side on this. And it's like, we have so little power. And we are talking about 400 people versus one.
Yeah, but Spock's done so much to save hundreds of people, millions of people. And I mean,
Yeah, but
Shut up, Spock!
to be,
We're rescuing.
Spock, we're rescuing you.
it's going to be millions of years before anybody's saved. I mean, that amoeba would take forever to fill up the galaxy.
You just want to leave it with like a warning buoy?
I mean, it's going to be, 100 million years probably before it, And eventually Q will just take care of it.
Oh, no. How do you know this isn't one of Q's science experiments?
oh, maybe.
Eventually humans will evolve to the point of having Q-like powers themselves, and then they could just undo it.
Oh, I disagree.
I don't need your fantasy women.
He doesn't speak for me.
He has his own fantasy women.
That's what Q can bring things in and out of existence as he pleases.
Yep, just like Kazoo.
So they destroy the organism and they retrieve the shuttlecraft with Spock in it.
Yeah, notice how we don't get an ending with Spock on the bridge.
He's alive.
He's alive. That's what's important.
I agree.
It's
And
amazing
he's-
how different the shuttlecraft looks than it did in the Galileo 7 episode.
Yeah, it's like they kept adding more and more props as they went along. But Kirk did say early in the episode he told Scotty to equip it with a lot of equipment. So that probably explains that big computer back there.
Well, and also,
And-
like if you compare it to Commodore Decker's shuttle from the Doomsday Machine, I think that I think that this is a modification where there is a cargo bay that is closed in the back half or back 2/3 of the shuttle, as opposed to in the Galileo 7, where it was outfitted for passengers. Don't forget, we had the vice commissioner of the Federation on that shuttle, so it was made for luxury, whereas every subsequent shuttlecraft has been made for function, I guess. I will take your silence as acceptance of my argument.
I'm sorry. I muted for a moment to ask a question to my family. So what were you saying?
I was being correct. Just move on.
Hooray! Hangar deck process pressurizing. Great. And so they're gonna go ahead and finally have that shore leave, richly deserved. Hopefully they get double shore leave now.
On a lovely planet.
An ample.
Planet that smells like lilac.
Mm.
Indeed.
Something.
Hello, cats.
Yeah, this is from Star Trek Cats. It's just a picture book. Star Trek picture book.
It says red alert at the bottom. I can see the Captain Cat saying it now.
Good.
Oh, and there's a Nahora cat in the back in red.
Yeah, there's the whole crew. So if you want to see a bunch of cats in Star Trek, there's a book.
Is that the Scotty? No, that's a Spock cat.
Yeah, that's a Spot cat. And then the little blue shirt.
You can tell because it's got pointed ears. Oh wait, they all have pointed ears. So
Yeah.
much for that theory.
But there's a McCoy cat also. Anyway, there's one more page from the 365 book I'll read from. It says the ongoing verbal feud between Spock and McCoy escalates to a new level in the Immunity Syndrome, as each attempts to convince Kirk that he is the best man to conduct what is likely to be a suicidal exploratory mission. They are both men of science, equally qualified to take the shuttlecraft into the heart of the beast, or more accurately, the nucleus of the protoplasmic mass. But the captain ultimately assigns Spock, presumably because of his superior physical stamina, to the task. Although Spock and McCoy one-on-one exchanges contain the traditional amount of species bashing. For example, you speak about the objective hardness of the Vulcan heart, yet how little room there seems to be in yours. The most heated dialogue seems to arise when the two are vying for Kirk's recognition, like children battling for a father's affection. attention. Nevertheless, McCoy worries about Spock the whole time he's out on the shuttle, despite his wicked delight in telling the Vulcan, "Shut up, we're rescuing you."
Shut up!
And in later episodes, Spock would subtly express similar concerns about the Doctor's threatened well-being. So is it love or hate? As Kirk once observed when asked if the two men were enemies, "I'm not sure they're sure."
Bread and circuses.
Hmm. Yeah, so everything's all right. The creature was destroyed. The ship and the shuttlecraft are thrown clear of the dark dead zone or whatever they called it, and with the power levels restored.
Did you call it the bed zone?
No, dead.
Oh, dead. I was gonna be like, oh no, comfy mattresses, black sheets.
Well, no, because if we did that, then to defeat it, you would need anti-mattress.
Oh, this is why I adore you.
As yeah.
His sleep number is absolute 0.
And then the shuttlecraft is brought back and everything. Yes.
We're fine.
That's the end of the
cats,
episode.
Yeah, it's over.
It's over. So oh, there was a couple more trivia pieces here. Apparently the young
Absolutely smashing.
The young crew woman who Kirk admires at the end of the episode will also show up as a Klingon in The Day of the Dove. So we'll see her later.
Oh, what? Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And apparently this part of the episode where he looks at that same crewman.
Can I stop looking at cats?
Improvised.
I fucking hate cats.
I guess. Anyway, that last scene was improvised by Shatner and Pevney on set. According to These Are the Voyages Season 2 reference book by Mark Cushman and Susan Osborne.
Cats are jerks.
Okay, Scotty R37, what do you think of this episode and what rating do you give it?
A+, 10 out of 10. I think it is one of the most brilliant scientific explorations of an unknown object confronted with, doesn't matter what we have in terms of our technology, but we cannot tell you what it is. We don't know. And the only way that we can find out is to delve deeper to our own peril. And the exhaustion of the crew alongside the strain, actually reinforcement of the friendship that is occurring between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Like even Scotty, even Uhura, even Chekhov, like everyone in this episode is working like a well-oiled machine. I love it. They're all tired. They're doing their jobs, but they're being professional and friendly. This is something that I would expect in a crunch time for any job that I ever have, where everyone is like, I get it. This is rough. But also, in the heightened reality that is Star Trek, I would like you to be aware of the fact that we're going to die. So if you could just do your job, take the vitamin B, just do it. This is so good. This is so good. No villain, but just a force of nature that you have to traverse. This is one of those episodes that makes me feel like Master and Commander is a Star Trek movie. And it's like, oh, the sea was angry that day, my friend. Well, this amoeba, this space amoeba, is the space being angry, my friend. I love it. And then just look at the top right hand of your screen. It is a breakthrough between Spock, McCoy, and Kirk in terms of even a couple of episodes ago. It's like, are they friends? I don't even think they know. Well, they know now. This is why Spock gave McCoy his Katra. Why? Shut up, Spock. We're rescuing you. This is amazing. I love this episode so much, and I didn't realize how much I loved it until I watched it today. Twice. So,
Nice.
yeah, A+.
Thank you so much, Scotty. That was a beautiful review. How about you?
I would give it
Papa?
an A. I would give it an A+ as well. I love the dynamic between the three. Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, obviously. I like the rival. The competitiveness, if I pronounce that right, between Spock and McCoy here is brought to a new level that we have not seen before. And then the remorse and the regret, I think that you could see that without saying that McCoy, you could see that he obviously feels that he did not say good luck to Spock when Spock left. When I was young and I watched this episode, I didn't really understand a lot about the amoeba, but now as older and looking at it through a different perspective, and to find out that it was basically, it was, like I said, it was not an evil entity going throughout the galaxy. It was similar to the probe in Star Trek 4. That it didn't know that it was destroying things. It simply existed, but unfortunately, by existing, it was destroying things. And I really appreciated that. And the episode still had humor. We got to see most of the cast. Even, of course, we got to see an appearance by Nurse Chapel, which sometimes, there's several episode stretches sometimes where we don't see her at all. But I really enjoyed it. I would say it's definitely in the top episodes. And I have to mention, I know you guys have heard this before, but A+ because no subplots. All right, how about that? Thank you, Jill.
Well, there you go. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for mentioning that part with Spock. I forgot to mention it where Spock says that McCoy should have wished me luck. And so that was the second time in the episode where you saw his human side.
Yes, and you can see McCoy's look on his face. You can see that he regretted it. Because
Didn't McCoy wish him luck, just
He
not
did.
to his face?
He
right,
did,
not
but,
to his face right after he
Yeah.
left.
and that's why Spock
Well,
thinks
there
that he didn't
was-
say it, even though he did.
There was an interesting interaction, and it's kind of a jump cut. It's obviously a splicing together. Is when Spock says, allow me my Vulcan dignity. And McCoy says, how can I allow you something that I don't even understand? And Spock says, well, then give me what you would say as a human. One of your own human superstitions, I think, to paraphrase, wish me luck. And he walks away from McCoy. And then they jump cut back to like exactly the same spot that he was standing in before he walked away. Anyway, he raises his eyebrow and McCoy looks at him and never wishes him luck until the pressurized doors of the shuttle bay close. And then he says, good luck, Spock. But he never says it to his face. And so it is sort of that distance. And then they come together again. Come on, let's not forget. McCoy, shut up, Spock. We're rescuing you. So I don't know. I think this is a really good episode between the friendship of Spock and McCoy. I love these two guys together.
That's true.
And, it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah. Wonderful friendship. And so, BirdoPrey5, what do you rate this episode?
I also rate this an A+ episode, as I tend to rate most TOS episodes. But this legit was, and not in any way, disparagingly, it did subvert my expectations. It kind of threw in a loop of what I expected. I expected Kirk would have gone himself. I expected he would have been, that the entire crew would have been up for a mission. They weren't going to try to get out of it, but they did. But they still did it when they had to. I was shocked that 1 billion plus people died and very little was done with it. And this amoeba, honestly, it's kind of like what the Borg was. It's something you don't understand. You can't reason with it. You can't talk with it. It's honestly a Borg of best of both worlds before they had a queen, and then before Voyager, where they just became, any old enemy. This was just a force of nature, and you have to destroy it. There's no ifs or was or questions about it. Nobody's going to say, well, maybe we should try to talk to it. No, it must die. It's them or us. And, there is no discussion. It's just, where do we shoot?
It's a thoughtless animal.
Yeah, you're right. That did make it a lot scarier.
If this was a next gen episode, Dr. Crush would have been like, we should try talking to it.
Oh, come on. No. If I were to put this up to like one of those episodes where they had to talk to it, this is like Gum2. This is like Nagilum.
I think that Dr. Crush would be like, should we really be trying to destroy a life form we just met?
I want to finger bang his candle.
Well, yeah, wouldn't that be Troy saying that? I feel loneliness.
I feel emptiness. It's so alone. Right. It's alone, the last of its kind in the galaxy.
I
need this feeling on my
Captain Picard would be like, oh, this makes it an endangered species. We better put up warning buoys.
What if it ups my pubis?
Tell everybody to stay 3 light years back.
Wouldn't Picard at least be worried about the billions of people? I don't know.
Well, they're already dead. What are you going to do?
Okay, so I give this one an A. I love this episode. Because of it was a terrifying and destroying entity. But my question is, where did this thing come from? I don't know. Well, we never find that out, but it serves very well as a destructive force.
Cleveland.
Against which the crew must destroy to save other people.
Probably be answered in Strange New Worlds.
Oh no!
Shut. My name's
I'm sorry.
Carl. I'm a space amoeba.
It'll turn out it'll be somebody's science project or something.
I'm sorry. I
prefer the mystery. I like the mystery where we don't know. Just like with the Doomsday Machine, I prefer the mystery. Yes, I don't want everything explained away. I don't need all that.
And it does feel like the Doomsday Machine, but in a way that it's, and as Bird said, like I agree with both of you in terms of it. It is not a reasoning being. It is in the case of the space amoeba, it is a primal creature who eats and reproduces, and that is what its business is. And with the Doomsday Machine, it destroys and consumes to continue on its mission to destroy and consume.
And speaking to what you guys were talking about earlier as to what would happen if this were a TNG episode, a lot of times I do prefer that. I do like to encounter those sentient life forms, but it's just a fact that not every form of life you encounter is going to be intelligent. So it makes sense that sometimes you're just going to encounter a single-celled galactic threat, and this episode works very well to portray that. When
you mentioned, if I may interrupt, Jill, you mentioned that it reminded you of the crystalline entity, and the crystalline entity was a villain or a weapon to be attracted by lore in data lore. But then when the silicone avatar came around, there was a possibility to communicate with such a destructive organism. and it was destroyed by a vengeful woman.
Mother.
And so, yes, a mother, of course. Most mothers are women, birthing people, if you will. And yeah, and it was just like, okay, well, that's when your revenge, the base level of retribution, has to be sated. But this was a matter of galactic protection. It's a dumb animal.
Exactly. The crystalline entity, you could talk to it. You can't talk to this. There's no talking to it.
No. Well,
but I like when Kirk says it's not intelligent, not yet.
Yes.
And
but that was predicated upon the division of the cells so that it would eventually become something more important than the universe. Like I've been saying galaxy and universe very specifically because when it comes to Star Trek, we're dealing with a galaxy, not a universe.
Yes, and the rest of my review echoes all of your reviews, saying I really like the way the threat is dealt with, and how it specifically highlights Spock and McCoy's relationship in the absolute best way. They are brothers, and they love each other. It is wonderful, and
I do love the family,
and it's great. Great episode. So happy. Thank you guys for talking about it with me. And also the chat.
Also the chat, but I do have to I have to step away. I have to go, and I don't know if I'm going to be back in time.
Are you okay? Is everything all right?
Yes. Yes, I am fine. But I do have to step away. If you would extend my appreciation and goodwill to the chat, I would appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the future. Don't forget to subscribe to Cinema Gulp and Antiderivative Jill, Pop Culture Curator, BirdoPrey5. Like, subscribe to all the people that you like. Oh, the Phantasmagorium. We're supposed to be, me and Kat on the Phantasmagorium, we're supposed to be doing a George Lucas retrospective, and I hope that works out. We're just going to talk about the movies of George Lucas, so that'll be fun. Anyway, I gotta go.
I'm so happy for you that you're going to be doing some more work on the Phantasmagorium show. I was wondering what was going on with that. So is that all you have that you want to share today?
I think I took up enough of your bandwidth, yes.
No, I'd love to continue talking with you, but I understand you've got some very important work to do or whatever you've got to do. So
I do.
Please enjoy
minimal work
Friday.
To do. All right. And
Cheers,
hello,
Scotty.
Infinity. Cheers, Pop Culture. I'm always pleased to talk good shows and good stories with you. And
likewise.
And Bird of Prey, you are also one of my favorite people to talk about things that we love.
Thank you.
Jill, I will see you in the future, whether your audience likes it or not. And peace.
Well, what matters is that I like it, and if I'm having fun, I figure that it will translate to the audience too. At least that's what I hope.
That's solid thinking.
Thank you. But it's the only way I could manage it, I think, because if I try to read their minds, that's not going to work. But oh no. Hold on a moment. Can you guys?
The MPAA rates this chat as NC-17, says the AI show. I must have missed some of the chat.
I've got to be right back in a couple of minutes. Can you read the chat for me?
Yeah, not a problem. Let's see. Where were we? Well, I'll just scroll up. Cardinal Sin says, "Hail to Jim's Landscaping LLC. JT Kirk says the fantasy women existed, but they never existed." Is that where we're going up to? Okay. Let's see. Well, Sort of Poop is Q says, "I'm still looking forward to some recreation on some lovely yeoman." Yeah, that double entendre was done twice in this episode. At the very beginning, and again at the very end. Kirk is like staring a woman in the eyes, and he says that he can't wait to get some rest and relaxation on a beautiful, and he looks her in the eyes and says, planet. When, clearly he means he can't wait to get some time with some beautiful women. But regardless, he earned it. And I'm sure there were plenty of women that would be happy to spend some time with the well-known Captain James T. Kirk. And the AI show says, some lovely planet. I guess that's Kirk's idea of exploring strange new worlds. Indeed. J.T. Kirk says, hey to Lemon Pie. Franco Walker says, you and me both, Snortopoopus. Brr. J.T. Kirk says to Big Daddy MRI, Saturday night, Star Trek joke. Franco Walker gives a thumbs up. J.T. Kirk says, Photon, Snorpedo away. Big Daddy MRI says, oh, do we get a young female yeoman each to recreate with? Asking for a friend. I would certainly have signed up for Starfleet if that was the case.
If you can find yeomans that are willing and are forced, I guess.
Well, I mean, if they tell me that, once you get to lieutenant, you get your own yeoman.
Okay.
I mean, I assume that they're willing, obviously.
You get to pick your own yeoman?
I mean, I feel like if they're giving me one, I can do with what I please.
No, yeah, I agree.
I'm assuming that that's somebody else's contract to deal with. I'm sure there's plenty of women on some planet. They're just happy to get off their planet. That, and not all species are going to treat recreation in the same way as humans do. It's just, to some species, it's just something you do, like eating or pooping and recreation. It's just
like Delta. Like Delta.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Or a denobulin, even. It's not a big deal to them. It's just something you do. Mark Harkness says, what basis for saying how long takes that thing to reproduce? Let's assume it takes 5 years for it to reproduce. By the time Picard comes around, there are over 60,000 of them killing solar systems. Well, the thing is, there might be 60,000 of them, but that's still not killing solar systems. Solar systems are so far away from each other, it'd be unlikely that it even made it to a second system, and certainly not a third. So that's what I mean. I mean, granted, if each one floated to a system, then sure, that takes out 60,000 systems. But I mean, if they're just single-celled creatures, they're going to end up next to one another, and then it can't move faster than light. So even if it was traveling at sublight speed, it's never going to get more than a light year away in a year. No, I just don't think
it's that it didn't move very fast. They did say that.
Yeah. So I really don't think it's I think it's kind of a thing that's going to take more time than the universe will exist to become a problem. I mean, it could be bad for the galaxy, perhaps, but it's not going to destroy the universe.
Well, what I'm wondering is, if it multiplies, does that mean it spreads out, or does that mean it just becomes bigger?
I'd imagine it's got to spread out, but again, I don't think it could spread out faster than the speed of light. And so once you realize that it's not moving faster than the speed of light, in 10,000 years, it could only go, significantly less than 10,000 light years.
That's true.
Which is, only a small portion of the galaxy. right? It was 70,000 light years from the Delta Quadrant to the Alpha Quadrant. So,
Oh, that's an interesting take. I guess we're caught up on the chats.
no, I think there's still some more.
I'm not sure where. Yeah, I'm not sure where Jill left off.
Sean Carter says Scotty watched it twice, double penetration. Big Daddy MRI says going now to recreate and sleep until noon. Nice, enjoy, Big Daddy.
Yeah, have a great rest.
And he also says sounds like the fire ant colony in my backyard. Snorted Poopa says I give this episode an A for angry amoeba.
Amoeba.
Angry amoeba. I
There
can
you go.
pronounce amoeba if I try.
Yes, I have faith in you. Yes.
Jim's Landscape LLC, Commodore Productions, says A+ all the way. Franco Walker gave this episode a B+. James Caserta said the Borg were aware of what they were doing. James, I could say for Voyager Borg, absolutely. But for the original TNG Best of Both Worlds Borg, I don't know that that's true. In fact, I'd argue to say that they really didn't know what they were doing. As to the way they were presented by Q and on screen in Best of Both Worlds, they were literally drones. I don't think they had any of their own brain power. But, it's fiction, There's no right or wrong answer. I would just say I would argue against them knowing what they were doing. JT Kirk says A-, far better than Voyager Season 1, Episode 2, Parallax.
I wouldn't know that. I haven't seen that episode.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it, obviously, but I don't remember much about it. I obviously, that was a Kazon episode, I would think. Or was that an episode? There was an episode early in Voyager where they came across a planet that had weird power that they ended up blowing up. So I don't think that was the episode. I don't remember a space amoeba in Voyager first season. So I don't know what Parallax was about offhand.
Gotcha.
Mark Harkness says that emptiness isn't loneliness. That's its stomach. Big Daddy MRI gave it an A. Great episode. Good on-screen development of a relationship between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. It's a real expansion of the relationships. Snortopoopus says Mikey Spock would have cried and made the amoeba feel bad and re-examine its actions. And Picard would have held a staff conference and would still be considering what to do when they all die.
I agree with that completely. JT Kirk.
Snortopoopus says it looks like something that's evolved in a New Jersey garbage dump. That's true. It was very weird seeing it on the screen, especially with the updated graphics. I was like, what the hell?
Hey, Bird, thank you so much for covering for me while I had to step away for my family.
You're welcome. No problems.
Yeah.
I made it to JT Kirk.
JT Kirk.
Gloria from Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Gloria from Cleveland. Yeah, okay. Hurrah, Snorty, says Eugene. Oh, hey, hello, Eugene Bird. Great to see you. Snortopoopus says, could they have sprayed it with hand sanitizer? Oh, because
That,
it's
that, was,
like
that
a,
would have been a very nice choice.
or hand soap because it'll break it up. No, it wasn't actually a virus.
Scotty, I need 16,000 gallons of something called Purell. Aye, sir.
How you doing there, Jill? You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
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 Sorry about that. Not every form of life intelligent. That's my quote. A gel. Antiderivative gel. That's true. JT Kirk says Miramani is quite a beautiful birthing person. Who is that?
Miramani.
Miramani. Birthing person. It's such a ridiculous way to refer to a person.
It's
Because
terrible.
how do you know? Yeah, because how do you know a woman is even fertile or can even
What
birth?
it does is I don't know, in my opinion, but it makes them sound like an object. And
It's
it takes
weird.
I think it's very impersonal. I don't know. I just never did that.
Oh, oh, of course. Oh, of course. Okay, I should have remembered that. I couldn't remember her name. Miramani, of course. From Paradise Syndrome. Thank you.
Yes, correct.
Oops. I lost my highlight. There it is. The AI show says B+, an effective episode where the ship is threatened. The real insight is in seeing what a starship crew that is tired and overworked would do when confronted with the hostile entity. And one thing I didn't mention, I neglected, even though we did talk about it while we had the episode going, is that this crew is tired and overworked, and they're having to do their duty anyway, of course, to combat this threat. And meanwhile, Captain Kirk does a really wonderful job. Every time there's a calamity on the ship, he addresses the crew over the intercom and says, gives them some words of encouragement or advice or tells them what's going on. And I think that's really helpful for the morale of the ship, and it's really wonderful to see. And James Caserta says it's okay to kill stupid people. Is it? Oh,
I wish it was.
because I said it's okay to kill them because it's not intelligent life. Yes, I've heard that argument before. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like in general, even a stupid person is still sentient. So that's not exactly what I meant. But also what Bert said. Big Daddy MRI says, that is genius. It would have worked. And hello to Captain Infinity. He's here.
Hello, Captain.
Hey, Captain Infinity. Good to see you.
Oh, annoying family matters. Yeah, well, I took care of all that, and so we're good. Snortapoopus says, I think you have to be a captain to get your own yeoman, but not all yeomen are women. Oh, that's true. There are some male yeomen. Very, very
Out
true.
on my ship.
Right, you better be very specific when you ask for that yeoman.
Franco Walker says, if they're giving me one, I'm going to give them one right back.
Yeah, you might have missed what we were talking about, Jill.
Yeah, I did. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I was saying I would have signed up for Starfleet if I was promised my own yeoman.
Mm-hmm.
This would have been a good way to get people to sign up.
That would require a lot of yeomen if everybody gets.
Well, I suspected that there was a planet out there of plenty of people who didn't mind becoming yeomen.
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad job. J.T. Kirk says, my health insurance company encourages daily recreation of 30 minutes or more. That's good. Do they feed on energy? Says James Caserta. Yeah. Well, right now, if you're talking about my family, they're feeding on fried chicken.
Yummy.
That's the highest form of energy known to man is fried chicken.
Oh dear. I'm being called.
Red alert.
Yeah, red alert. Indeed. Could you read from the chat, Pop Culture Curator? I'll be right back. Starting here.
Snortapoopus says, was that amoeba the result of a science experiment? Calling Dr. F. And I have to scroll up to see exactly where that is. There we go. Frankel Walker says, J.T. Kirk, would it stand up in court? LOL. Mark Harkness says, so you assume it's been existing in the Gamma 7A neighborhood, and an inhabited system with ships for all its development. Or that's a question, for all its development. James Caserta says, but in order to survive and get out, they had to kill it. And Snortapoopus says, unpopular opinion. Most of Voyager was totally forgettable. Still better than any new direct, though.
I think that's a
Mark Harkness
popular opinion. I'm sorry, I was just saying I agreed with that opinion.
Oh yeah, and I agree too. I'm sure I've never seen Voyager, but I'm sure it could not be. There's no way it could be as bad as what they're producing now. Mark Harkness says Parallax was, Parallax was receiving an SOS from a ship trapped inside a tear in space. They move in to help and get trapped, finding out they sent the original SOS. And Jim's
Thank you, Mark
Landscape
Harkness.
says,
Thank you.
I'm from Ohio. And Snortapoopus says the solar system has been sanitized for your protection. Nomad. Hello, Kronos. Good to see you. Glad you could join us. Hey, Kronos says, hey, Antiderivative Jill, panel, and the chat. And Snortapoopus says, Kronos, hello. Franco says, hey, Kronos. And Kronos says, Antiderivative Jill, Spartacus. She'll never live that down. Kronos says, hey, yes. Kronos says, hey, Snoots. And Kronos says, hey, Franco. And Jim's Landscape says, hey, Kronos. Kronos says, insentient me. Kronos says, hey, Jim. And Jim says, Captain started his own stream. Snortapoopus says, I'm not sure about that. I've met some pretty non-sentient people. And Franco says, Jill, take care of the family. Absolutely. Family always comes first. Kronos says, dissentient? Question. Kronos says, pure salt is healthy. And J.T. Kirk says, the Yeoman planet is class Y. Demon planet. Wow, kinky. Kronos says, is Bird wording off a lot?
Yes, Kronos, I am.
Kronos says, hey, Popple. Hello, Kronos. I'm glad you could join us. James Concerta says, and one of our planets is missing. The animated series Spock telepathically linked with a mind cloud to dissuade it from destroying. But this was a matter of survival and instinct for the creature. Yes, James, yes. Definitely.
Yeah.
Great episode of the animated series.
That one was a sad episode because they couldn't. It was a malicious life form, so they couldn't. They couldn't free it. They had to leave it where it was and imprisoned by itself forever.
Forever? That's a long time.
Oh, we lost Jill.
She'll be back.
Kronos says, hey, Kirk. And J.G. Kirk says, hey, Kronos. And I think we're caught up on the chat.
Kronos, how are you doing today? That was my Captain Kirk impression of asking Kronos how he was doing today.
Well done, sir. I'm not sure if I'm good at doing Captain Kirk. I usually try to avoid embarrassing myself, so I don't even attempt it.
Me too. I usually just read things straight also.
Welcome back, Jill, to your own channel.
Yeah, thank you. My mic got unplugged. That's not good.
Well, that happens. It's okay.
But I do want to share the poll to show what everybody else rated this episode, which was what I was going to do when I was called away. And so at 59% gave this episode of the Immunity Syndrome an A range. 31% gave it a B. 9% gave it a C. And nobody gave it an F. So it looks like Gorilla's threat to give it an automatic F was untrue.
Yeah, I was still waiting for his explanation. Didn't he say he would have a reason?
He was just joking. I don't know. Well, he is working. He is working, so I don't know. I should always just give him a link just in case to see. Oh, and you read this one? Yeah, right.
Yes.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Franco Walker, I came back. I'm so glad you guys were here to talk about this episode. What a great one. And honestly, I remember this episode, but I mostly just remembered the amoeba, and I didn't remember that all of those cool character moments come from this episode. So it's really great. It's really great that we got to see it.
Absolutely.
Queen of the Hill, Jill, says James Caserta. I've never heard of that before. Like, I know King of the Hill. That's cute. Gorillas did way?
I think you meant what?
Oh, he said he was joking earlier that he was going to give it an automatic F and he'll come up with a reason later. James Caserta says F for fantabulous. Exactly. Big Daddy MRI says to Kronos, I'm fine, listening and working. Great stream. Good to see y'all. Yeah, I think and we got through all the trivia, we got through all the episode, and we talked about I loved seeing the blooper. That blooper was pretty cool. And so next week is going to be super exciting because the next episode we're going to review is going to be, do you guys know? In production order, what's next is a piece of the action.
Oh my God! Action. Finally, finally. The only bad thing about that is we can't cover the music. That is when it comes to the Star Trek and the music. That is my favorite episode. It has absolutely the best music out of all of them.
Well, I'll ask Scotty to figure out how to sing it for us, and so he'll sing some of it.
I'll sing it. Sing it, Scotty.
Yeah, he likes to sing. Maybe he'll do it. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
okay.
tasking him with something without asking him first. We'll see.
Well, let me explain to everybody, if you do watch it, which I do encourage you to watch it before we cover it next week. But what I'm talking about is the bumper music before it goes to each commercial, because it seems like in Piece of the Action, before they go to each commercial, Kirk is getting caught by one gang member or another, and we get to hear every bumper music that is that suspense that leading up to the commercial. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you watch the episode, you'll know what I mean.
Awesome. I can't wait for next week. It'll be special. It'll be a very special episode. Not space hippies, Kronos. That's wrong episode. Kronos is funny.
Federation is moving in. Frank. Over.
Oh no, don't be sorry. Yeah, I know you have clips of a piece of the action in your intro to your channel, so it is an important episode for you. And Franco Walker is already giving it an A+++, but nobody else will vote. Wait for next week. We're waiting for that one. Oh, JT Kirk has a different opinion, though. I can't stand a piece of the action. I wish I could take a heater to the script.
Interesting.
Wow.
I think he's going to be wearing a pair of concrete galoshes.
Well, this is for you. This is for you, JT Kirk.
Whoever wrote this episode should die! Whoever wrote this episode should die!
I didn't mean to play that twice. Sorry. Kronos says mind slugs. Oh, not that one. And hello to Darius Munchausen. So thank you to
Hail, Darius. Good to see you there.
Yeah, it's always great to see Darius, wherever he may appear. Please, no Space Sopranos. Yes, that's it. There you got it, Kronos. Space Sopranos. Snortopoopus Cuber says Star Trek meets the Untouchables, another Desilu show. Oh, nice. One more time. Kronos says, or is it the Boardwalk Empire in space? Well, I know you guys also have your own channels, so could you tell us about what you have coming up next?
That is a good question. I am not 100% sure what I have coming up next. Possibly tomorrow, maybe an Enterprise episode. Very possible. And then Friday will be Bed Life. Both of them at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, Bed Life. We can always count on Bed Life. That's awesome. Great show.
Thank you.
I will be there.
And a pop culture curator, what do you have next?
I usually have a horror sci-fi stream tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, but I've been busy lately. I didn't get a chance to choose a title for everyone to watch ahead of time, so I'll be doing a Rumblings from the Lab, open mic, open topic, and then we generally end up talking about movies and things like that. Anybody and everyone's invited. Tomorrow night, it'll be Wednesday, so that means Gorilla's Random Thoughts and myself will be covering 2 episodes of the classic series Gilligan's Island. And then next Monday, we will cover another episode of the classic series Lost in Space. We're on season 1. Thank you, Jill. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Oh yes, of course. And I appear on the Lost in Space episodes. So if you want to find me on Mondays, that's where I am. And I will leave you guys with a preview of a piece of the action. So excited for next week, and that'll be fun. I'll see you guys next time. Have a lovely Tuesday in time for my child to need me, so I'm just going to play it. Bye, guys.
Just in time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care.
Ship's log. Mr. Spock reporting. Dr. McCoy and I are prisoners of the chief criminal boss of a society patterned after old Earth gangsters.
Put your hands over your head, or you ain't gonna have no head to put your hands over.
You want to live, don't you, Kirk? You bet you do. But after I get through with you...
I don't have those tools by then. I'm going to call up your ship and have them pick you up in a box.
Kind of like this. I'm gonna get one myself.
Daddy! Daddy!
Wait a moment. What have they done? What have they done to you? What have you done?
Okay, Pally, we're going for a ride.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.